Chapter 891. He really went to the God Burial Mountain. Doesn't he know how dangerous it is? Some people smiled bitterly. If a top overlord like Su Yin died on the God Burial Mountain, it would be really unlucky. After all, the Chaos Ruins had already opened, and Su Yin had killed his way there. It was only a matter of time before he became a divine king. It was very likely that he would climb to an extremely terrifying realm. But now he had gone to the God Burial Mountain. If he did not climb the mountain, Su Yin would still be able to walk out. But now he was sitting cross-legged on the God Burial Mountain and seemed to be extremely tired. Was there any hope for him to go down the mountain? What foundation can a useless race have to know about the God Burial Mountain's background? He probably doesn't even know that he is in a dangerous place and thinks that he has found a treasure land. A divine firmament sex divine king sneered. If he dies, he dies. It's not worthy of sympathy or pity at all. Anyway, Su Yin won't be able to live in the future. It's more dignified to die like this. As soon as he said this, it caused some people to look down on the divine firmament sex experts. Wasn't he gloating a little too much? The divine firmament sex experts couldn't wait for Su Yin to die as soon as possible. Su Yin had targeted King Flash. If Su Yin didn't die, how long could King Flash live? He dared to punch King Flash, so there was no guarantee that he would do something even crazier. It's really the God Burial Mountain. This dangerous place has appeared again. Many people sighed. It was unknown whether they felt pity for Su Yin or for the Chaos Immortal Mountain. Some people also tried to find out what had happened at the God Burial Mountain back then and why there were so many skeletons. However, the God Burial Mountain was a dangerous place after all. No one knew the truth of what had happened back then. A dangerous place was a dangerous place that even mighty figures could not attack. It was probably impossible to find out the truth. Su Yin sighed. Why did he go to the God Burial Mountain? After all, he is a strange person. Can't he see the dangers of the God Burial Mountain? There were experts from the Daluo Empire who felt sorry for him. They were all extremely regretful that he had fallen in the God Burial Mountain just like that. They still wanted to witness the achievements of the future Su Yin, but his path of invincibility seemed to have been cut off. Let me see his true face. Zhu Yuanqing's eyes narrowed slightly. The fluctuations from the space-time mirror grew stronger again, spewing out space-time light rain. An immeasurable force penetrated into the God Burial Mountain, trying to see through Su Yan's secrets. This space-time mirror was the most precious treasure of the Sky Bamboo lineage. It could almost see through some of the scenes in the Land of Death. Now that it shone on Su Yan's body, it felt like it was illuminating the primal chaos. It was impossible to see through him. Zhu Yuanqing's face darkened slightly as he thought to himself, can a mere Su Yin see through his true nature? It's probably because of the influence of God Burial Mountain that the space-time mirror is unable to detect anything. Buzz. The space-time mirror continued to shine, becoming more and more blazing and terrifying. An even stronger space-time force emerged, fiercely shaking the primal chaos. It wanted to see Su Yan's background. However, this kind of observation caused the space-time mirror to faintly tremble. It was as if it had seen through the truth that it shouldn't have seen. The images that appeared on the mirror were faintly frightening. It was as if the primal chaos was opening up the sky. Within it stood supreme figures overlooking the past, present, and future. Zhu Yuanqing's expression was extremely abnormal. He saw vague figures in the primal chaos. It was as if the sky was opening up in the primal chaos. One after another, they stood indomitable and looked down on the world. How is this possible? Zhu Yuanqing lost his composure. He felt that his eyes were playing tricks on him as he frantically operated the space-time mirror. The mirror wanted to see through Su Yan's background. However, he discovered something even more terrifying. The mirror seemed to be unable to withstand the pressure and was about to collapse. It was as if some terrifying matter was about to rush out from the primal chaos. It wanted to tear apart the space-time, cut off the flow of time, and open the door to eternity. Zhu Yuanqing instantly cut it off. He didn't dare to continue trying for fear that it would lead to some major problems. His face was deathly pale. How could this be? Why couldn't he see through Su Yin? It was as if Su Yin didn't exist. It was as if he didn't belong to this world. Even under the illumination of the space-time mirror, there were some indescribable images. This horrified him. Just how great was this person's background? Even the space-time mirror couldn't see through Su Yan's background. His expression was gloomy. He felt that this had something to do with the Buried Realm clan. He then coldly snorted in his heart. Forget it, forget it. He's not far from death anyway. Su Yan is really pitiful. Outsiders couldn't see the images revealed by the space-time mirror. Only Zhu Yuanqing could see them. However, he felt that it wasn't worth inviting the Almighty of the Sky Bamboo lineage to come over to reveal the secrets of a dead person. The matter of buried God Mountain also began to stir up a commotion. It spread throughout the 10 great primal chaos channels. For a time, the world was shocked. It's not the primal chaos divine mountain, but buried God Mountain. The contrast is too great. The experts sighed. It wasn't a land of fortune, but a demonic mountain. Su Yin is in trouble. He has already rushed into buried God Mountain. Can he still leave the mountain alive? With Su Yan's current prestige, this matter caused great waves. Many people were still looking forward to Su Yin contending for hegemony under the heavens in the future and contending with the strongest experts of the various peak clans. However, the struggle for hegemony in the primal chaos ruins had just begun. How could something like this happen to Su Yin? Did you see that? No matter how strong one's cultivation is, don't mess around. Some people rejoiced in Su Yan's misfortune. They shook their heads and laughed in spite of themselves. Su Yin is completely done for. His invincible legend has come to an end. No matter how strong one is, don't underestimate the danger zone. Don't go. Luo Tiandu suppressed Luo Huaqing and warned him, cultivate properly here. You cannot enter buried God Mountain. I don't believe you will die in there. Luo Huaqing's eyes turned red. He said in a low voice, even the corpse blood sea can't trap him. I don't believe you will fall. I don't believe. Luo Tiandu sighed. How could the corpse blood sea compare to buried God Mountain? However, he also didn't believe that Su Yin would die in buried God Mountain. He was still looking forward to fighting alongside Su Yin in the future. However, the situation didn't give Su Yin any hope of survival. Did you see that? The primal chaos ruins don't allow such an awesome person to appear. No matter how strong one is, they have to keep a low profile. It's really a pity that I couldn't personally suppress Su Yin. Sagely Battle God sneered. He glanced at the silent Liang Yan. If you die, I will collect your corpse in the future. Liang Yan's eyes looked at the blurry, chaotic mountain. She muttered in her heart, I will collect your corpse and bury you in the Medicine Valley. How about standing aloof from the world? Some people were sad. Fairy Xixia was angry. If Su Yin had listened to her, he wouldn't be like this. However, if she didn't see Su Yan's end with her own eyes, she definitely wouldn't believe that Su Yin had fallen in buried God Mountain. Buried God Mountain was once a land of death. It was related to a once terrifying group of people. On top of the chaotic God Mountain, there was a figure sitting cross-legged. After enduring an immeasurable pressure for a long time, Su Yan's body was stained with blood. His aura was declining, and there was a tendency for him to become one with the bones in the sky. On top of buried God Mountain, there was no difference. A corpse. After a long time, no one dared to charge into this mountain. Now that Su Yin had climbed up, it was as if he had entered a world of destruction. He could face the pressure of death at any time. The intense pain from his body attacked Su Yan's soul. It was extremely difficult for him to comprehend the flaws and inadequacies of his body. Su Yin suffered bitterly. The pressure from the chaotic, immortal mountain continuously attacked Su Yin. Injuries appeared on his body, and blood flowed out. With the attack of this pressure, Su Yan's body was like a broken jar. His body would definitely be riddled with injuries. This made Su Yan's heart tremble. He walked the path of a body like the universe. With so many flaws in his body, even if he didn't meet a strong enemy in the future, it would become a threat to his life on the path of becoming a strong expert. Many people who tried to break through would encounter great calamities on the path of cultivation. People could become strong, but they also had to bear the power they obtained. After all, Suyan's foundation was too strong. He had fused with a heaven-defying substance, like the chaotic origin energy. If an accident really happened, his body would definitely be crushed. Luckily, I have abundant resources on me. Suyin took out all sorts of chaos treasures. During this period of time, he had traversed the 10 chaos passageways. There was no need to mention his harvest. It was extremely plentiful, enough to support his cultivation for a long time. Suyin directly bit down on a primal chaos treasure herb. This herb was born from pure primal chaos energy. Even a single leaf contained pure primal chaos energy. It could nourish the wounds on Suyan's body and even restore his lost foundation. The bitter cultivation has begun. Suyan's entire body relaxed. The chaos treasure medicine caused Suyan's body to become resplendent. Chaos light gushed out from his mouth. At the same time, he guided the energy of the chaos treasure medicine to flow through his body. During this process, Suyan's body was filled with the aura of the great Tao. This was the power of the myriad Tao beginning to awaken. Suyan's body emitted the profound truths of the beginning of all things. The beginning sutra was extensive and profound. Suyan's path of cultivation had flaws, and it was closely related to the heavenly technique. From the time he obtained the beginning sutra to his current cultivation, Suyin had figured out himself. Now he was using the beginning sutra to refine his body. He was using the beginning sutra to make up for his flaws with the profound truths of the beginning sutra, cultivating the myriad Tao. In fact, the beginning sutra was based on the cultivation of the person who wrote it. Suyin dreamed of the immortal planet and gathered the power of the myriad Tao to walk the path of the beginning of all things. That was also using the body as a guide to revive the divine power of the great Tao. At the same time, he could also use the divine power of the great Tao to refine his body so that his future divine body of the great Tao would be tyrannical and abnormal. Rumble. There were muffled sounds like thunder. That was the sound coming from Suyan's body. He was refining his body. Every bone was shining. Every inch of his flesh and blood was burning, revealing the power of the myriad Tao. Suyan's body was a little blurry. He had become one with the Tao and was using his own Tao to refine his body. Kacha! There were bones in his body that were shattered. It was very painful and unbearable. The process of refining and recasting was very dangerous. It required the broken parts to be reassembled and merged with the profound truths of the sutra. Only then would it work. Of course, there were also powerful and miraculous substances in the world that could allow people to recultivate. However, these substances were too rare and precious. Even the pinnacle clans probably didn't have them. It was also very rare to find them in the most dangerous places. Please remember the domain name of this book. 9 Heavens Divine Emperor's mobile reading website. Chapter 892. Suyan's body had shrunk and blood flowed from his body. Before he self-destructed, he had a flawed great Tao divine body. This was a serious internal injury that would endanger Suyan's foundation. But he didn't care. Since it wasn't perfect, he would directly shatter it and reforge it. If news of this sort of willpower spread, it would scare people to death. After all, Suyin had come to Chaos Immortal Mountain and spent so much time and energy. But since he was already here, he didn't plan on leaving anytime soon. If he didn't temper himself to perfection, he would stay on Chaos Immortal Mountain to cultivate. His body was about to shatter. Suyin let out a low roar. He clenched his blood-stained hands and endured the pain, silently suffering. God Burial Mountain is too fierce. The scene in the space-time mirror caused all the major figures of the various races to tremble in fear. One had to know that this was Suyin, someone whose body could contend with the North Fae. He was a young overlord who could even pierce through the Chaos Channel. But now, Suyin had only been on God Burial Mountain for a short period of time, and yet his body was already starting to collapse. This caused all of them to shudder. They couldn't help but rejoice that the young experts of their races hadn't rushed in. This pitiful thing will probably become one of the skeletons of God Burial Mountain in a few days. An expert from the Fey realm said coldly. Su Yin is really pitiful. He went on his way like this, dying in pain and despair. He probably went completely mad before he died. Ha! He was a madman to begin with. He provoked so many powerful enemies. Now that you mention it, dying like this is already too easy for him. The scene was filled with endless roars of laughter. They were here to watch a joke and stared at Su Yan's miserable appearance, causing some people to secretly sneer. They reckoned that these people were relieved in their hearts. They were worried that Su Yan's rise in the future would pose a threat to the life and death of the overlords of the younger generation. Boxing King Flash. This matter shocked the world. Was there anything he didn't dare to do? If Chaos Immortal Mountain hadn't stopped Su Yan, then King Flash would have been beaten to death by his fist. This was a disrespect to the heavens and the earth, a disrespect to the peak races. This young overlord who wanted to rewrite the universe had once caused all the races to tremble in fear. Now that such a person was about to die, how could they not be excited? He can't die like this. The Han family's Grandmaster's eyes were about to split open. Once Su Yan died on God Burial Mountain, then what hope would he have in the future? He directly went to find Zhu Yuanqing. The relationship between the Han family and the Sky Bamboo bloodline was very good. The Han family's Grandmaster didn't need to say his intentions. Zhu Yuanqing already knew. Some time ago, 3 Grandmasters from the Han family went to the Sky Bamboo bloodline for the terrain chapter. Now, the Han family concluded that this item was on Su Yan. Zhu Yuanqing's eyes narrowed as he said, "It is indeed a waste for the terrain chapter to be on Su Yan. I can try to use the space-time mirror to investigate it for you, but I'm not sure if it will work. My Han family has its own background." The Han family's Grandmaster coldly said, "Once, a powerhouse from my Han family entered God Burial Mountain and came back alive." Zhu Yuanqing was surprised. He didn't expect to hear this secret. The Han family was the one who explored the most dangerous places. However, Zhu Yuanqing didn't expect that someone from the Han family had ventured out and even survived God Burial Mountain. He even brought back information about God Burial Mountain. Zhu Yuanqing exclaimed, "The Han family is worthy of being the ancestors of the Strange Gate. If they can get the topography chapter, they will definitely be able to produce an 8th grade Great Grandmaster. They will be able to explore any dangerous place." Of course, the Han family's Grandmaster said, "I'll have to trouble Elder Yuanqing. I'll immediately go to the Han family and try my best to go to God Burial Mountain before Su Yan dies and bring the terrain chapter down the mountain." Hearing this, Zhu Yuanqing smiled bitterly and said, "You'd better not have too much hope. Su Yan won't be able to survive for more than a few days. If you go back and forth, you won't have enough time on the road." The Han family's Grandmaster's face was gloomy. He could only hope that the terrain chapter was with Su Yan. If he died, there would be no way to find it. When people saw the seriously injured Su Yan taking out various chaos treasures to heal his injuries, they sneered. Even if he had a strong background, he wouldn't be able to last for long. The rich life essence had already melted in Su Yan's injured body. It was like drinking a glass of ice water under the scorching sun. Su Yan felt very carefree. He laughed in his heart and said, "Rise from the ashes." The initial scripture was operating. He used the power of the initial scripture to drive the rich life essence in his body and began to temper his body. This process was very slow. Su Yan had to ensure that the body he tempered had made up for the previous defects and reached a perfect level. Boom! His chest rose and fell like the roar of the sea. What was this? This was the momentum of chanting the scripture. Each syllable had the power of the resonance of 10,000 daos. His whole body exuded the profound meaning of the beginning of all things. It bloomed in his body and nourished new flesh and blood. Flesh and blood were being reborn. Every inch of his flesh and blood glowed, appearing very heavy and intertwined with dense divine marks of the great Tao. When one cultivated to the realm of the great Tao divine body, the body would be like a diagram of the great Tao. When combined with the resonance of the scripture's profound meaning, one could erupt with the strongest state. This also showed that the scripture was very important. It was the time to truly unleash one's potential. Of course, the strongest era of celestial arts was at the celestial god realm. As for the divine king realm, it was a competition of super strong foundations and unparalleled secret techniques. With each passing day, Su Yan's injuries improved a little. His treasured body steamed with vitality, and his original weakness was nourished. With each passing day, Su Yan's aura became stronger. If it weren't for the fact that his entire body was covered in blood, no one would think that Su Yan was seriously injured. The bones that were recast were especially shocking. Each one was like the heavenly bones of the great Tao. They clanged and intertwined with the light of 10,000 Taos. If these heavenly bones of the great Tao were really taken out from the body, they could be turned into great killing weapons. Su Yan tempered his body to an extremely strong domain, filled with a sense of invincibility. Moreover, as his body soared, the pressure from the chaotic immortal mountain also began to decrease. He even had a tendency to adapt to the pressure. This moved Su Yan. He was pleasantly surprised. It seems that the pressure of the chaotic immortal mountain is mainly targeting the flaws of my body and not blindly suppressing my body. This is really a martial arts grandmaster pointing out my flaws and inadequacies here. It seems that coming to the chaotic immortal mountain was the right choice. Su Yan laughed in his heart. However, he was also shocked. There was definitely a big problem with the chaotic immortal mountain. If it weren't for the Celestial Emperor's war flag, Su Yan reckoned that he would have already died on the chaotic immortal mountain. Fighting for the Celestial Emperor? Is the chaotic immortal mountain related to the Celestial Emperor? Su Yan muttered. He couldn't help but wonder if the chaotic immortal mountain was forged by the Celestial Emperor. This idea was a little terrifying. If it could be speculated like this, wouldn't it mean that the Buried Realm clan was related to this? This terrifying group of clans was also related. The immortal planet has sunk. The devil fog has invaded. Su Yan muttered to himself. What major event had happened in history? Was there someone behind the devil fog? And could that mysterious group of clans have led the Buried Realm clan to suppress the chaos? Or could it be that the Buried Realm clan and this mysterious group of clans were originally one? Su Yan thought about many things. In any case, there were some secrets in the history of the tribe. Maybe only the old leader knew about these secrets. After that, he frowned. He wondered if there was really a devil fog sealed beneath the primal chaos celestial mountain. Su Yan couldn't help but think seriously. The possibility was very high. However, whether it was the Great Tao Immortal Mountain or the Heavenly Mountain, the devil fog was suppressed under it. When he climbed the mountain, the strange substance that absorbed one's spirit was really similar to the devil fog. This also meant that the immortal mountain was strong enough to resist the devil fog, the source of the chaos. Boom! Another day passed. Su Yan's bones were resonating. His organs were rumbling like thunder. When the essence blood in his body flowed, it was like a divine power that covered the sky. Tyrannical. This was the first manifestation of Su Yan's strength. Of course, this kind of bitter cultivation couldn't make Su Yan's battle strength skyrocket. However, Su Yan felt that his body was ethereal, as if he was one with the world. Without a doubt, this reforging of his body was equivalent to washing away the impurities and breaking the previous shortcomings. He was walking towards a relatively perfect state. This was very important to Su Yan. Su Yan was deep in thought. He recalled Fairy Zixia's words. Now that he thought about it carefully, he felt that it was correct. Fairy Zixia said that the universe was flawed. Everyone's cultivation couldn't reach perfection and stand side by side with the ancients. Then the chaotic immortal mountain was a product of prehistory. The guidance it gave Su Yan was the energy and substance of the perfect time and space. Therefore, Su Yan seemed to have broken some kind of shackle that bound him. His cultivation path was broader. Of course, this was just the beginning. The chaotic immortal mountain must have a stronger test waiting for him. He suddenly stood up and looked at the unreachable chaotic immortal mountain. Su Yan began to climb the mountain, step by step. He wanted to dig out more of his shortcomings and cultivate bitterly here. Of course, it was absolutely safe here. No one would disturb him. Su Yin could comprehend the Tao in peace. Su Yan's steps were steady as he seriously sensed the changes of the chaotic, immortal mountain. At the same time, he focused and wrapped his entire body with the power of his primordial spirit. He was mainly trying to sense the other flaws and shortcomings of his body. It's been 5 days and 5 nights. Su Yin is probably dead. The big shots in the outside world were also bored. So far, the 10 passages had fallen into silence. The struggle for supremacy was temporarily over. Those who needed to cultivate were cultivating, and those who needed to make breakthroughs were making breakthroughs. It was worth mentioning that the 10 passages had many lightning tribulations. From the immortal realm to the immortal realm, the powerful cultivators had to withstand the test of the universe's great Tao. Only after passing the tribulation perfectly could they enter the immortal realm. He, Zhu Yuanqing, couldn't always use the space-time mirror to observe Su Yin. Let's see if he is turned into ashes. Zhu Yuanqing directly activated the space-time mirror. The jet-black mirror was awakened. It spewed out space-time light rain and began to shine on the God Burial Mountain. Please remember the domain name of this book. 9 Heavens Divine Emperor Mobile Version Website. Chapter 893. Even if he's not dead, he's most likely crippled. The Divine Firmament sex experts had such thoughts. They sneered as they looked at the space-time mirror. However, when the mirror showed the scene, the vast area was completely silent. The Divine King was dumbfounded. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. The real scene was completely different from what they had imagined. The outcome shocked them, and their scalps went numb. Could it be that their estimation was wrong? If there was really a mistake, it would definitely be a huge matter. Impossible. The Tao Palace's old antique turned pale. How could this be? The scene shown by the space-time mirror showed Su Yin climbing the mountain. He climbed step by step through mountains of corpses and seas of blood, starting to climb toward the chaotic, celestial mountain. This scene shocked everyone. Everyone was stunned. How could it be like this? Could it be that it's not God Burial Mountain at all, but another mountain? Be Astra starred. Be Astra starred. How could this be? Why is Su Yin still alive? Could it be that it's not God Burial Mountain at all, but has another origin? The Divine Firmament sex experts had lost control. Why was Su Yin still alive? Their Divine Firmament sex ancient record said that almost no one could survive on God Burial Mountain for more than half a month. Even if they could survive, it meant that they had a strong foundation, but it couldn't be for long. However, not only did Su Yin survive, but he was also climbing the mountain. This contrast made them gasp. Could it be that after so many years, the ominous aura of God Burial Mountain had dissipated? This must be God Burial Mountain. The Tao Palace's old antique said in a deep voice, I can't be wrong. I don't know why Su Yin is still alive, but it could be that after so many years, the ominous aura of God Burial Mountain has weakened. It could also be that Su Yin has a supreme treasure protecting him. The surrounding people were shocked. A supreme treasure protecting him? They didn't think so. Even mighty figures couldn't attack God Burial Mountain. No matter how powerful a supreme treasure was, could it be comparable to a mighty figure personally attacking? If that was the case, then there was only one conclusion, and that was that the strange change of God Burial Mountain had weakened or disappeared. They were shocked just thinking about it. If the strange change of God Burial Mountain really disappeared, such a land of death must have given birth to a supreme treasure that would cause the world to tremble. Su Yin was very likely to become the biggest winner. This was the fortune of a land of death that had been nurtured for countless years. If a person could ignore a danger zone, then they would definitely have a great harvest. But Zhu Yuanqing felt that this shouldn't be the case. God Burial Mountain had a terrifying energy body that even the space-time mirror couldn't penetrate. So, how could Su Yin isolate this energy body? No matter what, this place was in chaos. In just a few days, the news had spread throughout the 10 passageways. Overnight, the 10 passageways lit up with resplendent light. All living beings were awakened from their slumber. A land of death was right in front of them. Who would want to fight for it? Most importantly, the biggest problem had been solved. Su Yin was still alive. This was the most successful case. All the peak races simultaneously issued orders to investigate God Burial Mountain, but they didn't allow their strongest to enter. After all, the problem of God Burial Mountain wasn't completely confirmed. It was too risky to let the North Yao and the others go. If Su Yin can stand there, why can't I? Some young overlords didn't care at all. They felt that they could also barge in. They weren't satisfied with the fortune of the chaotic divine mountain. At the same time, they also knew what a land of death meant. If they could really obtain a harvest, it would definitely affect their entire lives. After weighing the pros and cons, some young experts chose to ascend God Burial Mountain. They wanted to witness the legendary fortune. However, Su Yan's old rivals chose to wait and see. After all, Su Yan was proficient in strange secret techniques. Back then, he was even able to destroy the demon court's ancestral veins. They wouldn't choose to be as crazy as Su Yan. If they lost their lives, then the losses would outweigh the gains. Cousin, are we going or not? He Shengjie and the others were getting restless. As disciples of the Tao Palace, they knew better than anyone what a land of death meant. It was a great opportunity, a great fortune. They might be able to obtain the legendary supreme divine medicine, supreme treasures left behind in history, and all sorts of terrifying wondrous items. The sagely battle god said indifferently, "Haven't you lived enough?" Since Su Yan is on God Burial Mountain, it means that he is definitely dead. The reason why he is still alive is because he has some methods to struggle for a while. This is God Burial Mountain. Don't underestimate any land of death. His voice was like a warning bell. He Shengjie and the others couldn't help but dispel their thoughts. Many people have rushed in. The 10 passages were no longer peaceful. Many cultivators rushed in. There were also extremely famous geniuses from various races. Even the top experts of the younger generation chose to explore God Burial Mountain. If it wasn't for the fact that Zhu Tian and the others hadn't made a move yet, more people would have chosen to enter God Burial Mountain. A vast territory, a gloomy world, and endless corpses. It was difficult to describe the tragedy of this place with words. Countless creatures had died in battle here. Now, more than 100,000 creatures had rushed into this land of death, breaking the tranquility of this place. The news that Su Yan was still alive in God Burial Mountain spread like wildfire. It caused all the major forces to give orders to explore the secrets of God Burial Mountain. If there was no danger, Zhu Tian and the others would have rushed in and plucked the fortunes inside. He is still alive. Zhu Yuanqing was puzzled. Su Yan was still walking. Every step he took looked very steady. He had been walking for 3 days and was about to reach the halfway point of the mountain. Unfortunately, the space-time mirror was unable to clearly observe Su Yan's situation. No one saw that his body was trembling. It was as if he was carrying a huge mountain on his back. His legs also seemed to be filled with lead. With every step he took, the earth quaked and the mountains shook. When Su Yan had half a foot in the mountainside, he felt that the world had changed. It was terrifying. Everything was spinning, twisting, and boiling. It wanted to crush any creature that dared to enter this place. Su Yan felt that he was about to die. His body was about to fall apart. He was facing an endless twisting force. It was as if the universe was twisting. Even Su Yan's body would be distorted and destroyed. Su Yan looked up at the sky and roared. He had escaped into a terrifying domain. Su Yan even found that he couldn't leave. He could only stand in this unique space and endure the endless tearing force. He felt that even if a true dragon were to barge in, it would be torn apart. This tearing force targeted the human body from all directions, causing all the bones in his body to bend. His arms were elongated, and his entire body was about to be torn into two by the endless elongation. Buzz! Su Yan erupted with his strongest potential. His precious body blazed with boundless heat and burned fiercely. His ethereal body glowed. He was resisting the tearing force between heaven and earth. However, Su Yan was constantly being torn apart as if he was struck by lightning. His primordial spirit was shaking uncontrollably. This was a dangerous situation where his body and soul would be destroyed. Su Yin couldn't break through it. He could only suffer here. In fact, in the scene shown in the space-time mirror, they could only see Su Yin standing on a mountainside without moving. They couldn't see what was happening to him. He even stood there day after day without moving half a step. This made people suspicious. What was going on? Why wasn't he moving? Su Yin seemed to have escaped into a new space-time. The tearing force that filled the sky and the destruction of a unique domain made Su Yin unable to divert his attention to think about other things. From the beginning until now, all his attention was focused on how to avoid the tearing of his body as fast as possible. No matter who encountered this unique domain, they would be driven crazy. Su Yin didn't know how many times he had avoided it or how much time had passed. In short, he was still alive. Swish, swish. As time passed, Su Yan's spiritual potential erupted endlessly. His movements became faster and faster. Finally, his aura changed. His movements were filled with a terrifying power. In an instant, he avoided danger at an extremely abnormal speed. He jumped through space, shrinking Earth. Gradually, Su Yin erupted into a terrifying domain while escaping. He took a step forward and arrived in an instant. What was shrinking Earth? No matter how big the world was, Su Yan's feet seemed to be very close. He could instantly cross to his destination. In the face of such a threat of death, Su Yan's potential erupted. He used shrinking Earth to its limit, as if he was passing through space. This was what Su Yin comprehended while escaping. However, he couldn't escape from this space. He couldn't even find a way out. How could he get out and open a path forward? Although the fatal threat had been resolved, did he really think that it was over? The torn space was still there and could threaten Su Yan's life at any time. He couldn't run like this for thousands of years. There would be a day when he would be tired. Just like now, Su Yan's spiritual power was exhausted to the extreme. Only the experts outside were confused. Su Yan had been standing there for 10 days and 10 nights. What was he doing? There's no end to this. Su Yan roared angrily, the anger in his heart surging. However, in his current state, he couldn't resist the killing with his physical body. He didn't even have time to recover his divine power. This also caused the space to be filled with Su Yan's fleeing afterimages. Although he was getting faster and faster, there was always a limit. Su Yan felt that his spiritual power couldn't take it anymore. The endless corpses on the Chaos Immortal Mountain were warning Su Yan that this wasn't a trial at all. If he failed, he would really die. Could it be that my physical body really can't withstand it? Su Yan's pupils burned fiercely. He thought of something. Facing the endless tearing domain, he thought of a cultivation method that he had always neglected. All things in the beginning can transform into all things. Su Yan's black hair danced as he let out a loud roar that shook heaven and earth. It was extremely wild. He instantly appeared from the space. The moment he appeared, he released a peerless, domineering aura. Buzz! Su Yan's body burned. His aura rotated as if it had transformed into a halberd covered in all kinds of runes. It was as if a real halberd had been born. In an instant, it attacked, splitting the sky and splitting the sea, forcefully severing the tearing storm. This was the most instinctive combat power of his physical body. He used his physical body to transform into all things and all kinds of killing weapons. The profoundness of the artifact construction chapter was being released. Su Yan visualized himself. His aura changed drastically, becoming more turbulent and terrifying. It transformed into a huge bell, like a Tao seed that was born at the beginning of the chaos. Using his body as a weapon, it shattered the tearing storm. He transformed into a killing sword. The moment he left his body, the sword beam was like a sea that surged through the sky. In short, Su Yan's aura was ever-changing. It was like 100 transformations' divine weapon. Finally, he transformed into a cauldron with 3 legs that shook the sky and spewed out chaos. There were all kinds of strange phenomena buried in the cauldron, filled with the aura of suppressing the universe. No matter how fierce the storm is, I will remain unmoved. Chapter 894. Ha ha ha! Su Yin looked up to the sky and laughed. His body was filled with energy fluctuations that could suppress all things in the world. This was Su Yan's most primitive combat strength. With the power of the Genesis Sutra, it was ever-changing, using one spear to attack another's shield. His body shone brightly as great Tao divine power interweaved. At this moment, Su Yin felt like he was operating his myriad Tao foundation to the peak. This was a type of Tao art, and it could also be said to be a type of ultimate skill and divine ability. In short, it had boundless uses. If an expert of the same level were to fight, then Su Yin was completely capable of using this ever-changing method to forcefully kill a strong enemy. This was very important. In a battle between peers, it could determine the outcome. After all, Su Yin could evolve his strongest strength to respond to the enemy's attack. His aura was ever-changing and filled with the domineering aura of gods and demons. No matter how strong the torn space was, Su Yin had the strength to forcefully break it. He stood in the invincible domain and blocked all kinds of attacks. Boom! Finally, the torn space shattered in front of Su Yan's figure. He had completed the challenge and stood halfway up the mountain. The experience of the past half-month was like a lifetime for him. It was as if he had been reforged, causing Su Yin to sigh with emotion. This kind of opportunity was not easy to come by. Of course, it was also under the threat of death that Su Yan's potential was squeezed out. He had dug out all the methods that he could use to successfully break through. It seems like I have to go into seclusion for a period of time. The experiences of the past few days had given Su Yin a lot of inspiration. However, the difficulty of the next challenge was giving Su Yin a headache. He would definitely not be able to pass it like this. He had to go into seclusion for a period of time. From the moment he stepped into the realm of gods until now, Su Yin had not seriously cultivated. Now he had to settle down and cultivate for a period of time before attempting to challenge the mountain. Of course, Su Yin was not the only one growing. He also felt the pressure of the future. Zhu Tian and the others would also grow rapidly. Their strength would definitely increase on the chaotic divine mountain. The chaotic divine mountain only had death and threats. Although there were great opportunities, it lacked the corresponding energy. Therefore, Su Yin had to seize the time to increase his strength. Su Yin seems to be cultivating in seclusion. The images projected by the space-time mirror caused the powerhouses of the various races to have uncertain expressions. They felt that the evil event at God-Burying Mountain had most likely disappeared. Otherwise, how could Su Yin have the time to go into seclusion and cultivate? Shouldn't he have found the way back? Only their clansmen hadn't come into contact with God-Burial Mountain yet. After all, this bloody world was too vast. If Su Yin didn't have the immortal jade to guide him, it would have taken him at least 10 days to find God-Burial Mountain. As for the other cultivators, they would spend a lot more time and would not be able to find this mountain in a short period of time. I must speed up. I regret not letting Sun Dome enter God-Burial Mountain. A strong cultivator from the Nanyang sect side. They truly felt that this mountain was not dangerous at all. Otherwise, how could Su Yin be unharmed? Perhaps he had already obtained a great fortune on the God-Burying Mountain. Yes, I am also regretting it. Many leaders of powerful races had ugly expressions. If the strongest of their races went there too late, the fortune would have been taken away by Su Yin. Who knew what kind of earth-shattering fortune was hidden in this land of death? On this day, more and more people rushed into God-Burial Mountain. Many famous geniuses also chose to enter. Even the 5 young geniuses of the Ancestral Palace rushed into God-Burial Mountain. Even the other major forces rushed in large groups of cultivators. Their destination was God-Burial Mountain. Now, Su Yin was sitting cross-legged on God-Burial Mountain, cultivating. It was suspected that he had obtained a great fortune. People's hearts trembled. Even the overlords of the chaotic ruins were paying close attention. They wanted to know what kind of fortune was hidden in this land of death. He can use the space-time altar to guide Su Yin out. A strong cultivator said with a gloomy face, asked him to explain clearly. What is the secret of God-Burial Mountain? Hearing this, the surroundings became silent. Some people looked at the strong cultivator who spoke and cursed in their hearts. This old bastard is really bad. He doesn't care about the matter. He doesn't know that there's a terrifying leader in the burial realm. Have you all forgotten about the old leader? Who would dare to mess with Su Yin unless they were from a Peak clan? Moreover, even if the people from the Dao Palace wanted to investigate God Burial Mountain, they couldn't affect the Chaos Channel, let alone the legendary God Burial Mountain. Time passed slowly. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. Su Yin was sitting cross-legged on the mountainside. He had been cultivating for a month. He had forgotten about the passage of time and was wholeheartedly immersed in his cultivation. He was comprehending the power of the treasures in his body and studying the beginning sutra. During the process, Su Yin refined many chaos herbs and extracted the fragments of the Great Tao. He studied and deciphered the mysteries of the Great Tao. In short, everything about cultivation was built on the foundation of the beginning sutra. His body was like the universe. His body fell into silence without any energy fluctuations leaking out. Zhu Yuanqing was impatient. How come no one had found God Burial Mountain after so long? It had to be known that at least several 100,000 creatures had rushed in, but they still hadn't found the location. Moreover, Su Yin had been cultivating for such a long time. Some people even suspected that Su Yin was digesting the fruit of fortune he obtained on God Burial Mountain. Perhaps his strength would increase by leaps and bounds. Finally, someone is here. The experts of various races were closely watching the scene in the space-time mirror. At this moment, they were relieved to see a group of people approaching. They even saw God Burial Mountain and cried out in alarm. God Burial Mountain is in front of us. It is the legendary land of death. Every land of death contains a great fortune. Do you see that? Su Yin is the only one cultivating on the God Burial Mountain. It looks like we're the first group to break into this place. Let's go take a look. Over a dozen cultivators impatiently rushed towards God Burial Mountain. Of course, there were also some people who had arranged some special array formation here. As the array formation formed, it emitted fluctuations of energy, informing those searching in other areas that they had found God Burial Mountain. God Burial Mountain was massive and tall. It was covered in endless skeletons and emitted a suffocating fluctuation. This situation was enough to frighten all the King Realm experts into stopping. But if Su Yin could cultivate here, why couldn't they? These dozen-plus cultivators didn't hesitate. They directly rushed towards God Burial Mountain. Wanting to climb up? At this moment, the powerhouses of various races watching through the space-time mirror all breathed heavily. If these people could climb up the mountain, they would immediately notify the strongest generation of their races and rush into God Burial Mountain to explore. However, the result left them pale. As soon as these dozen-plus cultivators entered God Burial Mountain, their bodies began to tremble and then explode. The space-time mirror seemed to be dyed with blood. The scenes that appeared caused the Divine King's complexion to become ugly. Like this, they had all died without causing a single ripple. Not a single one had survived. They've all died. The complexions of the cultivators who had arranged the array formation changed. Their bodies broke out in a cold sweat. If they hadn't arranged the array formation just now, they would have also died. This left them all panic-stricken, feeling as if their heads were about to explode. Why is Su Yin completely unharmed? Nonsense. Just what kind of outstanding talent is Su Yin? We've all overlooked a question. There's a certain mortality rate when exploring the chaotic Divine Mountain, but this is God Burial Mountain, so how can we have safely passed through? That's right. Only the powerhouses of the younger generation have the qualifications to challenge God Burial Mountain. They discussed here not daring to approach God Burial Mountain. They chose to wait here for the powerhouses of their races to arrive. The results of the first batch of challengers left the great figures of various races gloomy. Like this, they would be delayed for even longer. They simply didn't dare to gamble. Who knew whether or not the evil of God Burial Mountain had been completely eradicated? Time passed day by day. A few spectators rushed over to God Burial Mountain, but they didn't dare act blindly without thinking. More than 10 cultivators had died miserably. This was a wake-up call. Some people looked at the figure seated halfway up the mountain. They were a bit confused, feeling that Su Yin was too quiet. Not even the slightest bit of life aura leaked out. Some people even suspected whether or not he had fallen. Finally, on this day, a group of creatures with powerful auras rushed over. Their cultivations were all in the heavenly deity domain. Their might was like a mountain as they pressed towards God Burial Mountain. Someone stood out and advised them with kind words, saying that more than 10 cultivators had just touched the foot of the mountain and were directly crushed. They advised them not to act blindly without thinking. However, these people were extremely disdainful. They all came from the chaotic ruins. Some people were even more direct. Don't compare us to some trash. That Su Yin could reach halfway up the mountain. Don't tell me we can't even climb to the foot of the mountain? Truly laughable. You all. The expressions of the cultivators who advised them with kind words became ugly. They even sneered inwardly. You all indeed couldn't compare to Su Yin. Perhaps if Madman Su stood up, you all would have to serve under his feet. They're going. This was a group of Ingjie who came from various great powers in the chaotic ruins. Their auras were all combined together. There is no need to mention just how tyrannical they were. This was a group of experts among experts. They joined hands to rush towards God Burial Mountain, wishing to explore the mysteries and excavate the natural luck. However, as soon as their feet stepped into God Burial Mountain, that terrifying pressure was simply like endless stars falling from the sky, smashing into their bodies. Pung! Large swathes of them died on the spot. Their bodies directly broke apart into pieces, turning into ashes. They didn't even have time to leave behind skeletons on God Burial Mountain. The few people who were still alive felt as if they were struck by lightning. The pain was unbearable. There was even a terrifying power that was sucking away their life essence, making them feel fear and despair. What kind of demonic den was this? They felt like they wouldn't be able to live past an incense stick's worth of time. On the other hand, Su Yin always sat halfway up the mountain and cultivated in seclusion. He was also enduring the terrifying pressure and hammering, but Su Yin didn't have to worry about his essence blood leaking out. No! Another person cried out miserably. He couldn't last past 3 breaths of time, his life reaching its end. Lord Su Yin, save me, save me. Some people even let out beast-like roars because they wanted to retreat. They found that as long as they stepped on the mountain, they couldn't leave at all. That terrifying power that sucked away their essence blood was like a bloody mouth, swallowing them whole. All of them were dead. Not a single one of them was left alive. Quick! The eyes of a divine king in the ancestral hall were red. He roared angrily, "Send my order immediately. Tell everyone in the ancestral hall not to approach God Burial Mountain. This is a land of death." The divine firmament sect and the other forces reacted, but it was already too late, right? What time was it already? It was too late to inform them now. The space-time mirror had already captured a black mass of people flocking towards God Burial Mountain. Please remember the domain name of this book. 9 Heavens Divine Emperor Mobile Version Reading Website. Chapter 895. It was too late to stop the experts from entering the God Burial Mountain. The God Burial Mountain was the God Burial Mountain. Although the Tao Temple could warn them with the sound of the bell, the sound of the bell could not reach the God Burial Mountain. Many warriors of the other clans and forces were like deflated balloons. They were paralyzed on the ground, their hearts filled with fear and uneasiness. How many people would die? Their families would suffer heavy losses. After all, those who were all-powerful. If their lives were devoured by this demonic mountain, some families would really despair. Why can't they do it? Why can't Su Yin do it? Someone lost control and roared. The Ancestral Hall had sent 5 geniuses. They would not hesitate at all and would directly charge into the God Burial Mountain to scout the way for Zhu Tian. When the time came, they would ask Zhu Tian to come and suppress Su Yin and take him away. Someone sneered. Weren't they afraid of being ridiculous? Su Yin was now a supreme being. He had competed with the northern demons and even Zhu Tian. He also had the amazing feat of Boxing King Flash. Now, they were comparing the mainstays of their families with Su Yin. How could they say that? No one can compare with Madman Su. who can kill a half-step almighty with one punch. How pitiful. Could it be that you still can't see Su Yan's current influence? How many people in the vast cultivation world can rival his combat strength? Yes, they're still looking down on Madman Su. How laughable. Even if the strongest generation of these families were to take action, could they really suppress Madman Su? Haha, I don't think so. Someone sneered, feeling that this comparison was laughable. In short, the clans of the Daiyuo Empire heaved a sigh of relief. They did not send out too many strong troops to charge and break through the enemy lines. In fact, the clans and forces that wanted to control the god Burial Mountain immediately had another goal, which was to cut off Su Yan's path. Su Yan was already strong enough. If he obtained a great opportunity in the land of death, who could suppress him in the future? Therefore, the Ancestral Hall sent out their true elites. These elites had hopes of breaking into the Divine King's domain in the future. But if these elites were to die in the god Burial Mountain, it would be an extremely heavy blow. For a period of time in the future, God Burial Mountain truly became a land of blood. It was previously a land of death, but now its vicious reputation erupted. It devoured gods and devils, burying young heavenly geniuses from various great clans one after another. It was a scene that shocked the world. No one could leave the mountain alive. The strongest person was only able to last for a day and night before dying with hatred. Su Yan sat steadily on the god Burial Mountain. His appearance was solemn, and his body flowed with the light of the great path. On this huge mountain filled with corpses and blood, his aura was holy and peaceful, like a god who had purified purgatory. During this entire month, the number of creatures that died was incalculable. When news reached the 10 great passages, it stirred up heaven overflowing waves. The God Burial Mountain is a peerless danger zone. It hasn't weakened at all, but how come Su Yan is safe and sound? Could it be that he grasped the secret of climbing the mountain? Could he dig up the good fortune of this land of death? Regarding this matter, the old fogies of the various races couldn't explain it clearly. They could only guess that Su Yan had some incredible protective treasure on him. This left the Ancestral Hall's experts incomparably angry. They were even worried that Su Yan had obtained some great good fortune from the God Burial Mountain. This demon, he actually caused the deaths of so many people. Someone lost control and roared. This was the Divine King. Because of the God Burial Mountain, their race had suffered disastrous losses. Of all the cultivators that entered the God Burial Mountain, apart from those with weak cultivations, all of them had perished. The impact of this matter was astonishing. It could be said that the entire world was shocked. Haha, this is a typical case of blaming the latrine pit. You don't have the ability to survive, so you blame Su Yan. That's right. Su Yan being able to survive is his own ability. If he eats meat, you won't even be able to drink soup. Why aren't you blaming Su Yan? Some people sneered. They were well aware that the various races had suffered disastrous losses. The peak experts of the various races had all headed to the God Burial Mountain, but in the end, they never returned. They were all buried on the Demon Mountain, but the Demon Mountain was still the Demon Mountain. No matter how many corpses there were, they couldn't cover up the bones of the powerhouses that had once died on the Demon Mountain. Only Su Yan sat halfway up the mountain. For an entire 3 months, he hadn't moved at all. If it weren't for Su Yan's solemn and dignified appearance, as if he were a god that delivered all living beings from torment, everyone would have thought that Su Yan had perished on the God Burial Mountain. The God Burial Mountain is a place where gods and demons are buried, but it can't bury an overlord like Su Yan. Even the North Goblin and the others don't dare to act rashly. They don't even dare to take the risk of going to the God Burial Mountain. Originally, the entire world was filled with rumors that Su Yan wouldn't be able to survive. The contrast was too great. However, some people remained calm. Could Su Yan really leave the mountain? Was the God Burial Mountain really unable to bury him? There was no way to confirm this matter now. Another period of time passed. Even Zhu Yuanqing couldn't sit still. He found the Han family's old grandmaster and said in a gloomy tone, "He has been cultivating on the God Burial Mountain for almost half a year. It's very likely that he has obtained a great opportunity. Can you still sit still? The Han family's old grandmaster glanced at Zhu Yuanqing and said in a gloomy tone, "Elder Yuanqing, I am confident that I can escort some people to the God Burial Mountain. But do you think that the powerhouses I escort will be able to defeat this little evil creature? Damn it. Our clan's young supreme is exploring a universe secret realm. If he comes, he will definitely be able to suppress Su Yin." Zhu Yuanqing was stunned. His face slowly turned gloomy. He had overlooked a problem. What could they do even if they went up? Could they compete against Su Yin? He knew that the strongest powerhouse of the Han family's younger generation was definitely a top-notch god. However, if he didn't make a move, the other young powerhouses of the Han family might not be able to suppress Su Yin. After all, if they wanted to escort some people up, they would have to pay a high price. Are we just going to let him continue to grow? Zhu Yuanqing was furious. He couldn't bear to see Su Yin rise. Hearing this, the Han family's old grandmaster said coldly, "Don't worry. He won't be able to hold on for too long. The evil creatures of the God Burial Mountain are still there. Su Yin can only suppress them temporarily. He can go down a mountain now. The more greedy he is, the more confident I will be in killing him." The Han family had already started to make preparations. They wouldn't rush into the God Burial Mountain to deal with Su Yin without full confidence. After all, the Han family's terrain chapter was very important. They would only make a move when they were 90% certain of success. Time passed slowly. Su Yin's seclusion this time was rather long. However, the more silent he was, the angrier some people became. They felt that Su Yin was reaping opportunities. No one knew what he had experienced. He had been sitting on the mountainside and cultivating for almost half a year. Every day, he faced a terrifying pressure. His body was constantly under extreme pressure. It was under such extreme conditions that Su Yin used the Origin Sutra as a foundation to deduce all the laws in the world. At the same time, he borrowed the power of the Chaos Elixir to strengthen his foundation, strengthen his body, and strengthen his blood essence. Under such monstrous pressure, Su Yin's cultivation was extremely slow. The amount of resources he consumed was also extremely difficult to count. Fortunately, before he came here, he had connected through the 10 great chaos channels and obtained great harvests. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been enough to support his current bitter cultivation. I think I saw Madman Su move. Suddenly, at the foot of God Burial Mountain, a group of spectators trembled. They felt as if their bodies were about to explode. They felt as if a demonic god was moving through the air, occupying God Burial Mountain and becoming its lord. His pores released light that seemed to contain 10,000 primal chaos Tao, about to collapse the heavens. For a time, the spectating experts were all trembling with fear. The blood energy within their bodies began to roil uncontrollably. None of them were able to stand steadily. These people were truly frightened. Just how astonishing was this? It was as if the heavens were about to collapse with just one's might alone. He is awakening and even cultivating. I feel like he is transformed. There's a terrifying power brewing within his body, as if he is about to release his strongest strike. Madman Su's strongest strike was able to heavily injure King Flash. I feel like the current Su Yin is even stronger than before. He's even stronger than before. What exactly did he get? The spectating cultivators were all speechless. There was a trace of shock in their hearts. It seemed that he had really obtained a heaven-defying opportunity. Su Yin was silent, but when the silence reached a certain level, his body began to tremble. His aura began to fluctuate uncontrollably. The aura that leaked out was powerful enough to shock the world. He was accumulating his own foundation, unearthing the treasures of the human body, and strengthening his blood energy. He was also using the heavenly technique of the beginning sutra to draw upon the power of 10,000 Taos to continuously temper his great Tao divine body. The process was very slow. This was because Su Yin was constantly enduring the pressure from God Burial Mountain. It was as if he was cultivating with a celestial mountain on his back. Every month, he would have great gains. As time passed, Su Yin gradually adapted to this pressure. What kind of manifestation was this? With such heavy restrictions, Su Yin could erupt with the strength he should have. However, if he were to tear apart these restrictions, then on this day, Su Yin would have an extremely powerful domain. Su Yin would often wake up, but he would also often fall into a deep slumber. No one knew what he was doing. Just like that, half a year passed. His divine power gradually approached the peak of the seventh heavenly layer. His cultivation at this stage was very slow. He tried his best to temper his deficiencies, allowing his body to reach perfection. In his body, the aura of the primordial beginning of all things was rich. Every inch of flesh and blood, every drop of blood essence, every bone, and every internal organ was filled with the rich aura of the primordial beginning of all things. It was as if his body was in chaos, undergoing the primordial beginning of chaos. He was perfecting the cultivation process of his body as the universe, trying his best to reach perfection in all aspects. Just like that, Su Yin was in seclusion for an entire year. His physical body faintly released an even stronger pressure. On this day, Su Yin felt that it was about time. This was because the pressure of the chaos immortal mountain on him was already very, very low. He could completely deal with it. Su Yin cultivated bitterly for an entire year. The outside world was not calm. Some powerful elites had succeeded in breaking through and stepped into the heavenly god realm. Their combat strength had transformed, and one after another, they were terrifying. Some people went on a long journey, preparing to cross into the chaos ruins to explore the whereabouts of the secret realms. Some people went to the secret realms of the universe that their clans had once occupied to excavate the fortune. Some people went to search for the legendary Chaos Pagoda. In the era of the wind cloud competition, people seem to have forgotten Su Yin. But on this day, he slowly stood up. In an instant, it was as if the heavens and earth were collapsing. His might was too shocking. The pressure of the chaos immortal mountain hammering Su Yin was like all kinds of waves that flowed in reverse. It was blasted away by him. Su Yin was ready to charge. His aura was shocking. He was prepared to charge to the peak of the chaos immortal mountain and witness the legendary Tao of the heavenly gods. He's moving. Some people were still paying attention. They were all shocked. Su Yin had been silent for so long. Finally, he woke up. He soared into the sky and began to climb towards the peak of the god burial mountain with all his might. Every step he took shook the earth and mountains. When Su Yin's feet landed, there was a thunderous explosion. In a gloomy world, the ancient land was bleeding. Amidst the mountains of corpses and seas of blood, only one person was charging forward. Along the way, only the celestial emperor's war flag was shining. It accompanied Su Yin as he charged toward the peak of the chaos immortal mountain. It was as if he was about to unveil a historical mystery. Gradually, Su Yin realized that the mountain was getting more and more magnificent. It was vast and boundless. Every corner was as vast as a star field. Was this a universe? He endured a monstrous pressure. His vitality was even more vigorous than a true dragon's. As he charged up, he saw some scenes at the peak of the mountain. He even saw many peerless figures standing on the peak of the mountain. Their figures were as tall as the heavens. Su Yin has awakened in silence. The heavens will also awaken in silence. Please remember the domain name of this book. 9 Heavens Divine Emperor Mobile Version Website. Chapter 896. Is he trying to reach the summit of God Burial Mountain? Someone's voice was filled with disbelief. This danger zone must contain a great opportunity. If Su Yin were to pluck the good fortune at the summit, I wonder what he would obtain? That must be it. Since Su Yin has climbed the mountain, he will definitely rush to the summit. He won't easily give up on such an opportunity. There were very few spectators here, but when they saw Su Yin's actions, they all felt awe and respect from the bottom of their hearts. He was too strong. Although many powerhouses have been buried at God Burial Mountain before, they couldn't compare to Su Yin at all. Under this monstrous pressure, Su Yin had grown to this step. If he didn't have a certain amount of confidence, Su Yin wouldn't have tried to rush up the mountain. Thump, 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 thump. Every step caused the earth to shake. The sound of thunder was deafening, causing the spectators at the foot of the mountain to be incomparably shocked. Although they hadn't climbed the mountain before, they knew that it would be extraordinarily difficult. This was because even with Su Yan's powerful body, after rushing up for a while, his speed began to plummet. His originally frightening aura was restrained. It wasn't that he was restraining himself, but that the pressure of God Burial Mountain was too abnormal. When Su Yan approached the peak of the mountain, his body faintly trembled. It was like a myriad of enormous mountains were ceaselessly pressing down upon his body, causing him to feel pain and unbearable. Even his strong body was unable to resist the pressure that came from the chaotic, immortal mountains. Everyone look! Su Yan is climbing the mountain. The great figures in the outside world were instantly attracted. Zhu Yuanqing once again used the space-time mirror to investigate, but this time he saw Su Yan climbing the mountain. The powerhouses of the ancestral hall all had gloomy expressions. Could he really climb up and break through this danger zone? He is getting closer and closer to the summit. A divine king said with a solemn tone, God Burial Mountain has existed for countless years. No one has been able to break through this danger zone. Could it be that Su Yan is about to become a legend? Absolutely impossible. Some people reacted violently and felt that it was simply impossible. Su Yan would definitely not break this legend and rush to the summit. They were all seriously observing, and their eyes did not blink. Su Yan's breakthrough could be said to have affected the hearts of all the experts in the world. Every one of them was breathing heavily. 99% of them did not wish for Su Yan to break the legend. Everyone was greedy and wanted to obtain the benefits of the world. Even if it was someone unrelated to them, they wouldn't want them to obtain anything. It would be best if they could die on God Burial Mountain. Su Yan didn't know how long he had been running for, but he felt like he was about to die from exhaustion. His entire body was scalding hot, as if it were about to spontaneously combust. Blood was flowing out of his nose and mouth. This abnormal pressure was pushing Su Yan's body to the brink of being incinerated and reduced to ashes. Roar! He let out a loud roar. His long black hair danced in the wind, and his pupils shot out beams of light in all directions. His entire body erupted with power as he used up all of his trump cards. He wanted to open up a path and rush to the summit. Gotcha! After another step, Su Yan's body staggered, and he really was about to fall to the ground. The sound of bones cracking came from within his body. In the end, all of Su Yan's bones in his body trembled, and cracks appeared on all of his heavenly bones of the great Tao. This was an extremely painful internal injury. His body couldn't withstand it and was about to fall apart. The pressure was too abnormal. Su Yan's body had already been tempered to the point where it was strong enough, but even someone as strong as him couldn't withstand it and was about to be completely shattered. It was like great stars in the universe were constantly bombarding Su Yan, causing all of his pores to spurt out blood. His trump cards were about to evaporate. He let out an angry roar. He felt that he had already reached perfection and was strong enough. But what else was there? It was a flaw that Su Yan couldn't discover. The universe was flawed, but Su Yan felt that he was perfect. But now, the bloody reality was telling him that he wasn't strong enough. He couldn't reach the standards of the ancients. It was really difficult to cultivate to this step in the current environment. Actually, since the Chaos Immortal Mountain stood here as a testing ground, then there was definitely a test standard. Since Su Yan couldn't reach the summit, this meant that he wasn't strong enough. I can't see through it. He clenched his fists tightly and released his blood. His greatest potential was unleashed, but he still couldn't rush up. There was still some distance to the peak. He felt that even if he was really shaken to death, he still wouldn't be able to touch the peak. Gotcha! Even the injuries in Su Yan's body worsened. His heavenly bones, his organs, his blood, and every inch of his flesh were about to break apart uncontrollably. This was very serious. If Su Yan couldn't turn back, then he would die without a burial ground. Ha ha ha. Look, this madman is finally going to die. I see his body starting to crack. His body is about to explode at any time. This is a sign that he can't take it anymore. As expected, the God Burial Mountain is still the God Burial Mountain. No one can break through the danger zone and complete a legendary feat, no matter how strong Ingja is. It's no exception. Actually, it's a pity. Suyin is already amazing enough. He has even reached this step. If he fails now, it's really a pity. The divine firmament sex experts mock the sky, releasing the anger in their hearts. Seeing Su Yan's miserable state, they were indescribably happy. Could he really survive in this situation? Everyone knew that once one reached the God Burial Mountain, there was no turning back. But that was for others. Su Yan had the celestial Dharch battle flag beside him. If he wanted to go down the mountain, he could go down at any time. However, Su Yan didn't want to leave just like that. He still wanted to continue trying to break the limits of the human body and find an even stronger body. In the future, he would be able to walk the path of invincibility and be on par with the strongest heroes in history. If he couldn't even do this, how could he lead the race to glory in the future? The more time passed, the more serious Su Yan's injuries became. His physical body was really about to fall apart, but his mental strength was tenacious. He continued to step forward. With every step, Su Yan's physical body shook, and blood spurted out of his pores. He was really moving towards death. Many people were shocked. Was he crazy? The consequences were so serious, but he was still continuing to try. Where's my gap? Where's my flaw? Su Yan shouted angrily in his heart. He wanted to know his own flaw. The chaotic immortal mountain was telling him his flaw, but Su Yan couldn't see it. He seemed to be deceived and even bound by the incomplete laws of the universe. He couldn't shake off the shackles. What is my flaw? As Su Yan asked, he only felt a piercing pain between his brows. His essence soul was about to fall out of control. This made him shiver. At this moment, he understood and grasped the key point. His flaw was not his physical body, but his essence soul, the essence soul that he had neglected all this time. At this moment, Su Yan really felt the importance of the essence soul. If Su Yan's essence soul was strong enough, he could completely find the shortcomings of his physical body and even open the hidden treasures of his physical body. The physical body was like a war lamp that illuminated the path ahead. If the essence soul was strong enough, it could completely envelop an entire star field. The physical body is a huge treasure that needs to be excavated continuously. The essence soul is the energy that dominates everything. Without the essence soul, one is no different from a corpse. One is a dead person. But if the essence soul is strong enough, it can completely sense all the changes in the physical body and explore the hidden treasures of the physical body. The essence soul is really important. In the future, the essence soul must be the focus of my cultivation. Ever since Su Yan cultivated the great Tao divine body, his physical body was powerful and terrifying. He was revered among his peers. All this time, Su Yan's essence soul was guarded by the Sutra of the future, so he had neglected the tempering of his essence soul. After all, the Sutra of the future was very magical. But Su Yan suddenly felt that the great Tao divine body and the essence soul were one. If the essence soul could not keep up with the cultivation, there would be serious flaws in his cultivation. It would also affect his future growth on the path of a strong cultivator. If the physical body is a treasure, then the essence soul is the key to opening the treasure. Yes, that's it. The treasure, my body, needs to be opened with the essence soul as the key. Only then can I find more flaws in my body and make up for them. He had to strengthen his soul spirit to understand and ponder like this. At this moment, he stopped and sat cross-legged on the ground, resisting the abnormal pressure of heaven and earth. His essence soul burned like a divine lamp above the ocean, a bright moon, and a big Buddha, the void refinement realm, and the way integration realm. Su Yan had integrated his own way. During this period, his mastery of way had improved greatly. If he tempered his essence soul, it would definitely be able to transform and surpass the past. He finally can't take it anymore and stops struggling. Moreover, Su Yan can't turn back. Yes, Su Yin can't continue to rush up. If Su Yin has enough potential, he should be able to rush up. If we can suppress Su Yin and find out why he can ignore the strangeness of God Burial Mountain, then we can find a way to decipher the secrets of God Burial Mountain. Some Peak Clan leaders were eager to make a move. This was an excellent opportunity. It was very likely that they could take advantage of this opportunity to open up this land of death. Those in the Ancestral Hall imagined that if Zhu Tian obtained this secret, he would definitely be able to reach the peak and unearth the good fortune of God Burial Mountain. But how could he climb the mountain? However, what they didn't know was that there was already a group of people approaching God Burial Mountain. The leader of this group was a silver-haired old man, a shadow with a terrifying aura. If those familiar with him saw his appearance, they would definitely be frightened. Because he was a Grand Elder of the Han family, a 7th-grade Grandmaster, and an expert in the Divine King's domain. He forcefully suppressed his cultivation to the heavenly deity secret realm and carried the Han family's greatest treasure. He led a group of Ingjie to God Burial Mountain to harvest. There were more than 10 powerful heroes, and most of them were the elites of the Han family. Even King Flash was among them. He sneered, "I've already stepped into the 8th heaven of the divine spirit realm. I'll avenge my humiliation on God Burial Mountain. It's just Su Yin. There's nothing to worry about." A silver-robed man with an aura as strong as the mountains and the sea was unparalleled. He was definitely one of the top 3 peerless geniuses in the Han family. In fact, he also couldn't understand why the family wanted to ally with King Flash. The old Grandmaster of the Han clan also wanted to be certain. The Lightning King and Su Yin had an irreconcilable enmity, and the old Grandmaster hated Su Yin to the bone. The old Grandmaster could not forget the enmity of a punch from back then. King Flash's cultivation also caught up, and he would definitely be of help. Of course, the main force was still the Han family. A divine king who suppressed his cultivation and carried the family's greatest treasure would definitely be able to deal a devastating blow to Su Yin. Moreover, Su Yin had already started his final struggle. It's harvest time. The Han family's divine king smiled eerily, looking forward to the harvest scene. Awakening failed, because it's almost a new year and the wedding house hasn't been renovated yet. Time is tight. Blue Sky's wedding date is almost here. I remember when I wrote the book, I was 21 years old, and now I'm 26. In a few days, my birthday will be 27. I'm really getting old. Some of my brothers have been reading the Blue Sky book for 5 years. Old friends, thank you for your company all these years. Blue Sky doesn't know how to be polite, and he rarely interacts with his brothers, so he's not very good at it. Anyway, thank you. Last time, when I said that I was getting married, many readers asked me to take care of their wedding dresses. I asked the wedding dress shop to create a small program with many wedding photos. If you're interested, you can take a look. I'll post it in a few days. Also, every new year, I'm used to doing some activities and giving out some red packets. This way, you can follow my public account and search for Blue Sky Leaf to follow me. Chapter 897. Su Yin was really close to the peak of the mountain. He sat cross-legged on the mountain, his body stained with blood. Even now, a terrifying pressure constantly assaulted Su Yan's body. But he didn't care at all. Although the pressure was extraordinary, it wouldn't crush Su Yin to the point of death. As long as he didn't move, he wouldn't be severely wounded. I can withstand it. Su Yin also took out some precious medicines. After swallowing them, they dissolved into life essence energy and began to repair the damage to his body. But Su Yin wouldn't recklessly use these medicines to heal his wounds. The main reason was that Su Yin had spent far too many resources during this period of time. This trip to God Burial Mountain had nearly turned Su Yin into a pauper. But he had also obtained a great deal, making up for his previous deficiencies. This was something that couldn't be bought with any amount of money. But he really needed to use them sparingly. The test of God Burial Mountain was still ongoing. He needed to use a certain amount of his background to support it. Su Yan's breathing was heavy. He sat cross-legged on the mountain, his forehead blooming with light. His essence spirit sat cross-legged in his spiritual sea. His golden essence spirit was like a great sun in the sky, releasing tens of thousands of rays of light and gushing out a Buddhist light. In truth, Su Yan's essence spirit was tyrannical enough, but he wanted to become even stronger. Only when his essence spirit grew to a certain limit would he be able to unearth the treasures hidden within Su Yan's body. In his spiritual sea, Buddhist chants echoed out. The Sutra of the Future was automatically recited. This was a supreme Buddhist scripture. It could be said to be broad and profound. It contained the changes of space and time, describing the highest profound truths of Buddhism. It involved the future. This scripture didn't seem like a scripture at all. Instead, it seemed like a mystic technique that helped the essence spirit cultivate. The Sutra of the Future truly revolved. Su Yan's essence spirit sat cross-legged in a blurry space and time. It really was like he was standing in the future, looking at the present, looking at his body. But Su Yan's body emitted all sorts of blurry light. He was like an invincible king standing in the endless river of time. Even if the Sutra of the Future revolved to the limit, it still couldn't see through the flaws in his body. Seems like I still have to go into seclusion. My path is correct. I need to strengthen my primordial spirit and soul energy. Su Yan murmured. It was easy to say it was easy to strengthen one's soul spirit, but difficult to say it was. The primordial spirit was a person's spiritual energy, the sea of will, and the source of life. Without the primordial spirit, the physical body would be nothing more than an empty shell, equivalent to death. The stronger the primordial spirit, the harder it was to train. Now, Su Yan's body projected the chaos CI, which was surrounded by the profundity of the beginning of all things. It emitted 10,000 rays of light that shone on Su Yan's primordial spirit. Buzz! His primordial spirit was glowing, extremely resplendent and blazing. Moreover, under the illumination of the light of myriad Taoists, Su Yan's primordial spirit emitted an astonishing aura of Taoism and Buddhism as one. It could easily tear open the void. Su Yan's primordial spirit seemed to have disappeared. To be precise, it seemed like it was about to merge with the chaos CI. His primordial spirit disappeared from his sea of consciousness and sat cross-legged in front of the chaos CI. Although the Tao technique was Su Yan's own, he still needed to extract the power of the great Tao to temper his primordial spirit. The chaos CI was strong enough. Su Yan's body was like the universe, and his perfect inner Tao was replaced by the chaos CI. It was equivalent to the source of Su Yan's great Tao divine power. Now, his primordial spirit was sitting cross-legged in it, extracting Su Yan's source of life and penetrating it into his primordial spirit. His primordial spirit was brilliant, and it was as if 10,000 layers of golden lightning had been derived from it. This was the tempering of the great Tao, and the process was very dangerous. His primordial spirit was strong, but his body was very weak. This kind of tempering was like being struck by lightning, causing Su Yan to feel pain and unbearable. But this was a path that had to be taken. In fact, this step was something that only celestial gods would experience. Celestial gods fused with the great Tao of the universe, and during this process, their primordial spirit would also follow the transformation of the primordial spirit. Su Yan was equivalent to tempering his primordial spirit to the next realm in advance. Of course, it was not perfect, but he felt that it would be of great help to him in his current breakthrough. He had to cultivate it in advance and dig out the treasures of his body. His primordial spirit seemed to be transcending a tribulation, undergoing the tempering of 10,000 Tao. The chaos CI gradually condensed into a great Tao furnace, refining Su Yan's primordial spirit. The dangerous process allowed Su Yan to experience the benefits of it. His primordial spirit was beginning to fill up. This process was rather slow, and it required a long time of bitter cultivation. At the same time, Su Yan took out some primordial spirit mystic medicines. Unfortunately, there were too few of them, and Su Yan had a limited amount on him, but it was still much better than nothing. The essence of the primordial spirit mystic treasures flowed, into Su Yan's primordial spirit, accelerating the growth of his primordial spirit. Time passed day by day. After 3 days and 3 nights, Su Yan's physical injuries continued to worsen. His body was like a broken ceramic, easily shattering. This scene appeared in the eyes of some people, making them gloat. He's about to die. Some important figures concluded that Su Yan was really on the verge of death. He was going to bleed to the last drop of blood and become a part of the corpses on God Burial Mountain. It had to be said that this was a very cruel ending. The process must be very painful. If only someone could go and help and relieve Su Yan of his pain in advance. The Divine Firmament Sect's Divine King sneered. In fact, he still didn't know that the Divine Firmament Sect's King Flash had already left the mountain and followed a group of experts from the Han family on the road to God Burial Mountain. The Han family's old Grandmaster smiled, but didn't say anything. One of the Han family's Grandmasters was about to reach their destination. That was the Divine King and a 7th-stage Grandmaster. Even if his cultivation was suppressed, he still had strength. Of course, this was nothing compared to the great price the Han family had paid to take away the Han family's most precious treasure. This was a supreme treasure that had been passed down in the Han family for a long time. It was a rare treasure that the previous generations couldn't bear to use. Su Yan made the Han family pay a great price. I won't let him off easy even if I die. The Han family's old Grandmaster sneered in his heart. The Terrain chapter is finally going to return to the Han family's embrace. My family has been waiting for this day for generations. I didn't expect it to be completed by me in this generation. Ha 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 ha. Was there any suspense? Su Yan was already injured to this extent. His flesh was lacerated, his blood essence was leaking, and his foundation was greatly damaged. He was about to become an empty shell. As long as they successfully climbed to Su Yan's destination, they could take away the Terrain chapter. To outsiders, this injury was really incurable. But Su Yan didn't care at all. His essence was still there, and his foundation was still there. This kind of injury couldn't stop Su Yan at all. To be more precise, he only suffered a superficial injury and couldn't be considered an internal injury. Su Yan continued to extract the path of the Chaos Seas, to forge his primordial spirit. His primordial spirit grew stronger with each passing day. The process was extremely slow, but Su Yan also saw the dawn of hope. He felt that it would be soon. He had already been in seclusion here for a year. He didn't lack time. If it really couldn't be done, he could only retreat and find another way to become stronger. In the future, he would come to conquer God Burial Mountain. The sound of chanting resounded in the Chaos Sea's eye. There were visions here. There was a large bell, a temple, a wooden fish, a demon-subduing pestle. This was a vision brought about by the Sutra of the future. Su Yan's primordial spirit was sacred and dignified. It was like a Buddhist monk sitting cross-legged in the chaos and spewing out tens of thousands of heavenly sounds. The soul energy surging in his body became stronger. What a joke. This was the essence of the Chaos Sea's the source of divine power that Su Yan cultivated bitterly. It contained some heaven-defying effects of the primordial spirit. Under the tempering of this energy, it was no wonder that Su Yan's primordial spirit became stronger. 6 days had passed. Su Yan hadn't moved at all, but his injuries seemed to have worsened. Serious. The spectators here were so shocked that they couldn't speak. Was a peerless overlord of a generation really going to die on God Burial Mountain? Su Yan's secret medicine is already very limited. Someone sighed softly. It's a pity for such a young overlord. But this God Burial Mountain is too fierce. Even someone like Su Yan can't withstand it, let alone other experts. Sigh, it's really a pity. That's right. This might be the end of Madman Su's life, but he still has to suffer. They sighed endlessly. Right at this time, this area was suffused with a type of oppressive aura, making them all pale. They saw a group of figures with terrifying auras rapidly rush over. When they finally charged here, this area of the void exploded. Who was that? The leader was an old man in a silver robe. He involuntarily exuded a powerful majesty, which made their hair stand on end. Without guessing, they knew that this was a divine king who had snuck in. Even a dozen Ingia were particularly powerful, and they saw King Flash and a young man in a silver robe who was not inferior to King Flash. This combination frightened them. What did they want to do? Han Zhoming. The scene in the space-time mirror shocked some big shots. This was a great elder of the Han family, and he was even a 7th-level Supreme Power Master. He had a strong prestige in the Chaos Ruins and was on an equal footing with the half-step Grandmasters. But how could such an existence appear on God Burial Mountain? He's suppressing his cultivation. How crazy! Some people gasped. Suppressing his cultivation here. Wasn't he afraid that his enemies would find him? Although he was a divine king, he had suppressed his cultivation to the realm of the divine realm. If he was really defeated, it would be a big loss. Could it be that they are here for Suyin? These people were surprised. However, in a place like God Burial Mountain, even King Flash could not force his way in. There was a big problem. This is God Burial Mountain. Han Zhoming's eyes were sharp. He immediately said, "The evil of God Burial Mountain hasn't disappeared. It seems that this little guy has a treasure to protect him. Maybe we can use this opportunity to break through God Burial Mountain." The peerless genius of the Han family stood out. His name was Han Wenpan, and he had a high prestige among his peers. He belonged to the young Overlord of the Chaos Ruins and was even a 6th-level master. His identity and status were really amazing. Let's get the terrain chapter first. Han Zhoming coldly sneered. Then, he flicked his sleeves. An intimidating scene appeared, causing the surrounding cultivators to cry out in alarm. This sleeve seemed to open up a vast universe. A grand aura rippled outwards, causing the entire great region to tremble. Countless corpses began to break apart on their own. This scene left them in disbelief. What was going on? It suppressed the rules of the Chaos Channel. This Tao diagram violated the rules of the mystic realm. It really seemed as if a universe had been opened up. This dark world began to shine. Tens of thousands of shattered stars in the universe began to rumble. The vast territory began to rise and fall. The momentum of the world was directly outlined. Killing intent from the heavens. Stars shifted, killing intent from the earth. Dragons and snakes rose. This was a heaven-defying scene. The momentum of the world fused together, affecting the boundless world. Moreover, they were shrinking. It was as if the heavens and earth had been completely sucked out and penetrated into a terrifying Tao diagram. It was like a peerless Tao diagram that suppressed the heavens and earth, wanting to split open the heavens and change the earth. 8th grade, Great Grandmaster. The Divine King leapt up from his seat. He couldn't believe what he was seeing in the space-time mirror. Please remember the domain name of this book. 9 Heavens Divine Emperor Mobile Edition. Chapter 898. 8th grade Great Grandmaster. What a heavy and terrible title. Sometimes this title was even more unique and charming than a mighty figure. Of course, this title had not appeared for a long time. Once one cultivated to the 8th grade domain, their status would be extraordinary. They would be much more amazing than ordinary powerful people. Once, the ancestors of the Han family had more than one 8th grade Great Grandmaster. In that era, the Han family was really powerful. Their status in the Chaos Ruins was shocking, second only to the Taoist temple. After all, the experts of this realm. They could go through the danger of life, explore unknown areas, and unearth all kinds of prehistoric relics. Although the Han family had passed for a long time and there hadn't been any more grade 8 martial grandmasters, the legacy left behind in history had been passed down to the present day. Now, the ancestral land of the Han family definitely had all kinds of heritage left by the 8th grade Great Grandmaster. But now, Han Wenpan's supreme treasure was exactly the same as the power of heaven and earth gathered by the legendary 8th grade Great Grandmaster. This was a great Tao diagram, intertwined with hundreds of millions of Tao lines, shaped like a real dragon, a qilin, the stars, a moon. These were unique lines, special characters, and full of power. It was hard to imagine how powerful this great Tao diagram was. The moment it erupted, the world seemed to have evaporated. To be more precise, it was taken away and included in the Tao diagram, causing the entire Tao diagram to be magnificent and boundless. It was like a powerful Tao diagram that could suppress the heavens. This Tao diagram was as magnificent as a universe. It forcibly broke the rules of the chaos passage and opened an amazing domain world, making all the onlookers tremble and pale with fright. This is the supreme treasure you were talking about. Zhu Yuanqing gasped. The Tao diagram was like an 8th grade great-grandmaster's hand. It was hard to imagine how powerful it was. This Tao diagram was passed down by our ancestors. It is the supreme treasure of our Han family. The old grandmaster of the Han family laughed. This map is equivalent to the work of an 8th grade great-grandmaster. I told you before that the ancestor of my Han family once came down from the God Burial Mountain. I was talking about this ancestor, and this map was left behind by him before he died. Zhu Yuanqing's expression changed. No wonder the old grandmaster of the Han family was so confident. It turned out that he was relying on the sect's most valuable treasure. Once the evil spirits of the God Burial Mountain were suppressed for a short period of time, they could take advantage of the situation and climb up the mountain to take Su Yan's head. The old grandmaster of the Han family stared at Su Yan with a fiery gaze. The Tao diagram left behind by a rank 8 great-grandmaster was already so strong. If this trip went smoothly, he would be able to obtain the terrain chapter. Then, in the future, the Han family would definitely have a level 8 great-grandmaster. This kind of opportunity must be grasped. They could only succeed and not fail. The Han family is spending a lot of money to target Su Yan. Why? The older generation was shocked. After all, this sect's treasure was extremely powerful and precious. Once it was used, it would cause a loss to the Han family's foundation. Then, the Han family would also lack a sect's most valuable treasure. However, for the terrain chapter, everything was worth it. If they could obtain Su Yan's secret, then the opportunity of the God Burial Mountain would be obtained by the Han family. This was basically killing 3 birds with 1 stone. The Han family is really shameless. They took advantage of Su Yan's serious injury to take advantage of him. The people from the Marshall clan were furious. This was truly shameless. They did not make a move that year. In the end, they waited until Su Yan was heavily injured before making a move. This made them both angry and worried for Su Yan. His situation was very bad. His injuries were worsening, and he was completely silent. In the eyes of outsiders, it seemed that he was at his wits' end. Was he really going to fall into the hands of the Han family? Why did King Flash go? The experts of the Divine Firmament sect had ugly expressions. King Flash was too anxious to take revenge and did not inform them at all. They were also worried about what would happen. What if Su Yan got up again? What would they do? However, they felt that their worries were unnecessary. Su Yan was already so injured, and there was a grandmaster of the Han family holding the fort. Even if his battle strength was suppressed, this grandmaster's battle strength was extremely powerful. He was definitely not someone to be trifled with. Boom! Under the shocked gazes of everyone present, the Tao diagram suddenly erupted and rushed toward the God Burial Mountain. The energy of this Tao diagram was magnificent to the extreme. The moment it pressed down, the entire God Burial Mountain rumbled. In the eyes of everyone present, they saw that the Tao diagram seemed to have transformed into a person who controlled the universe and commanded the order of the Tao. He changed heaven and earth here, and his methods were heaven-defying. He could summon the wind and summon the rain. The patriarch of the Han family showed his divine power. He reversed the situation of heaven and earth and forcibly distorted the strange energy of the God Burial Mountain. In the end, the Tao diagram seemed to be burning, erupting with the most powerful energy. It forcibly blasted a passage on the God Burial Mountain, suppressing all the strange and ominous energy. Like this, a path to the mountain was forcefully opened. It had to be said that this was a domineering and shocking scene. They had actually opened up the God Burial Mountain. Just how strong was the Han family? They could even break through such a danger zone. But the price they had to pay was unimaginable. It was even impossible for this Tao diagram to last forever. Han Zhoming anxiously roared out, "Hurry up, we only have an incense stick of time." He was well aware that the Tao diagram wouldn't suppress the strange energy of the God Burial Mountain forever. Once the Tao diagram's strength completely dissipated, they would be trapped in the God Burial Mountain, and all that awaited them would be death. Moreover, the Han family would pay a heavy price. Highest elder worries too much. We don't need an incense stick of time at all. Han Wenpan laughed. The Tao diagram suppressed the strength of the God Burial Mountain, so they could come and go as they pleased. But to deal with someone who was about to die, they needed an incense stick of time? Su Yin is in danger. The onlookers were frightened. They saw that Su Yin was riddled with wounds. He sat cross-legged on the mountain, not moving at all. Not only did Han Zhongming want to take away the terrain chapter, but he also wanted to obtain Su Yan's secret of resisting the evil spirits. In the past, when the Han family's old ancestor descended from the God Burial Mountain, he had left behind detailed secrets regarding the God Burial Mountain. In the past, with his ability, he was only able to approach the mountain peak, but he wasn't able to reach it. This meant that with his cultivation, he was only able to suppress Su Yan's surroundings, but he wasn't able to go any further. But if he could obtain Su Yan's method of deciphering the strange energy, wouldn't that be even more precious than the Han family's most precious treasure? As they rushed towards Su Yan's location, a great crisis arrived. Su Yan, on the other hand, was in seclusion. In fact, when the Chaos Immortal Mountain's pressure dissipated because of the Great Tao diagram, Su Yan felt as if he had been reborn. The divine power that had been suppressed for a year couldn't help but boil. In particular, the Chaos Sea was glowing. The divine power that surged out was much stronger, causing Su Yan's essence soul to be tempered thousands of times. The soul aura it emitted was much denser. It was a shocking change. Without a doubt, when the pressure dissipated, it was as if Su Yan's potential had been unlocked. His cultivation speed began to increase exponentially. Su Yan, who was silent in his cultivation, faintly woke up. He was slightly surprised. He felt that his physical body had been perfected once again. It was as if a small universe was shining. What was this? He felt as if his physical body had formed a unique space, and Su Yan's essence soul was the only true God in this space, the only living being. Could it be? Su Yan had an epiphany. He felt that his trip to the Chaos Immortal Mountain had already told him that there was another path to becoming a heavenly god. It wasn't just through the great Tao of the universe. Then this path was also closely related to the essence soul. It was closely related to the body. This was a unique path. It respected the body. It was equivalent to disrespecting the world. It didn't rely on the world. It only respected the body. He felt that this was a feasible path. Moreover, as his essence soul recovered, his human body's functions began to awaken. He wanted to shake open the treasures hidden in the depths of his physical body and dig out an even more magnificent combat strength. However, Su Yan felt that it wasn't enough. His essence soul still needed to strengthen. When it reached its limit, he would definitely be able to open stronger treasures and temper his physical body to the limit. After all, if he didn't rely on the world or the great Tao of the universe, Su Yan had to be strong enough to attempt the heavenly god path that the Chaos Immortal Mountain had told him about. He was exploring the treasures of his physical body on a deeper level. At the same time, he strengthened his soul. In fact, Su Yan's human body's functions were already strong enough. However, the Chaos Immortal Mountain was telling him that it wasn't enough. He needed to be stronger. Su Yan didn't know that danger was approaching him. The onlookers were really suffocating. The scene projected by the space-time mirror made the expressions of the important figures of the various races turn solemn. Han Zhoming was approaching Su Yan and the others. This path had already lost its pressure, so they could come and go freely. With Han Wenxian and the others' speed, they only needed 10 breaths to appear in front of Su Yan. In the end, they closed in. More than 10 experts had extremely turbulent auras as they stared at the body that was riddled with wounds. They were laughing silently. It was an extremely cold smile, and they were very pleased with themselves. "Su Yan, it's time for you to die." King Flash laughed angrily. He rushed over in an instant, under the shocked gazes of everyone present. He waved his palm and ruthlessly struck Su Yan's chest. It shattered his blood-stained body and pierced through his heart. Boom! This palm was filled with tens of thousands of lightning bolts. It was extremely destructive. In an instant, the world let out a loud bang. It was as if it had struck the sky. The sound was deafening. Some people were stunned. This was King Flash, who had astonishing offensive power. If he took advantage of Su Yan's heavy injuries to attack, wouldn't he be able to shatter him with a single palm? However, he didn't. King Flash's palm only shattered Su Yan's chest. His body was too terrifying and abnormal. It was even harder than divine iron. It didn't shatter Su Yan's body. However, in the next moment, a jet-black divine spear pierced through Su Yan's shoulder. Han Wenpon's expression was cold. He wanted to pick up Su Yan and interrogate him. Their time was limited. They had to force out the secrets of God Burial Mountain before the Great Doubt diagram collapsed. Madman Su, the onlookers at the foot of the mountain were stunned. They really thought that Su Yan was finished. He was severely injured and had suffered a devastating blow. Bastard! King Flash was furious. He waved his lightning hand again, brewing an even more terrifying destructive power, and bombarded Su Yan's head. The previous two waves of pain attacked Su Yan's spiritual will, causing his primordial spirit to tremble violently. His primordial spirit was also instantly revived and was recovering. For a moment, Su Yan's bodily functions erupted on their own. Suddenly, everyone saw a blood-stained universe burning, releasing a terrifying aura. "You're courting death." Su Yan's pupils suddenly opened. He was so angry that his hair stood on end. With a loud roar, the stars in the sky trembled. Just the aura that had condensed in his body and started to boil was enough to make King Flash's heart tremble. He was definitely a sleeping monster rising from the ground. It made him feel despair. Blunder. The first two updates were messed up. It has been adjusted now. Please remember the domain name of this book. 9 Heavens Divine Emperor Mobile Version Website. Chapter 899. Su Yan's body was blazing, completely different from his previous lifeless state. It was as if he had become a completely different person. This was the embodiment of life after death. The moment the concentrated potential in his body gushed out, the vault of heaven collapsed. It was as if all matter in the world began to undulate, tremble, and finally shatter along with Su Yan's eruption. Oh my God! But all the experts who saw this scene were scared silly, and their legs went soft. How could something so ridiculous happen? Wasn't Su Yan already on the verge of death? How could he still erupt with such powerful combat strength? They even felt that Su Yan seemed to be even more terrifying than before. His battle body was blazing, and the concentrated energy in his body was boiling. It represented Su Yan's fury and began to roar. Crack! A black war spear that had pierced through his shoulder began to tremble and shatter. His body was even more frightening than a divine weapon. It could be said that a humanoid true dragon had awakened. This was the embodiment of invincibility. The top and bottom were one, and the aura was connected. As the primordial spirit recovered its powerful vitality, the dormant functions of the human body also welcomed a great eruption. An energy even more vast than the ocean was released. How is this possible? The Lightning King's heart was filled with fear. His palm, which was slashing towards Su Yan's head, was trembling. In fact, when he came into contact with Su Yan at such a close distance, he felt that his body was about to explode and be destroyed. His heart was filled with fear. How could Su Yan be so strong? Could it be that he had already stepped into the heavenly god realm? King Flash turned around and left, completely forgetting the humiliation and the purpose of his visit. There were only 2 words in his heart, and that was to never provoke this madman again. However, in the next moment, the Lightning King discovered that his physical body was being suppressed. There was a terrifying energy surging in this world, sealing off the sky and locking down everything. It directly suppressed the Lightning King's physical body, making it difficult for him to move. Buzz! In Su Yan's direction, endless light shone. It was holy and tyrannical, as if it had condensed into his invincible domain world. On this god burial mountain, only Su Yan stood proudly. Even if gods and demons came, they would have to submit to his feet and tremble. Su Yan had already seen through everything. He had never thought that the Han family would pay such a huge price to temporarily suppress the chaotic immortal mountain and climb up the mountain just to kill him. This made him furious. Previously, when he was in seclusion, his primordial spirit was searching for the treasures of a human body, which was equivalent to him not having any consciousness. However, he also did not expect that danger would strike him and that the Han family would pay such a great price to deal with him. If it was said that the Han family had the intention to slaughter him, then the fact that they had directly unleashed such a powerful killing weapon the moment they came into contact with him was truly a life-threatening crisis. Fortunately, the Han family wanted the topography chapter and wanted to force out the secrets of the God Burial Mountain, so they didn't kill him. All of you deserve to die. Su Yan roared angrily. His eyes were sharper than lightning as he directly locked on a King Flash. He punched out, causing the void to collapse. The destructive power was extraordinary, and an immeasurable and shocking strength spread out. Roar! King Flash erupted with power in the extreme realm. He had even burned his body's origin, obtaining a shocking source of energy. He shook off Su Yan's suppression and raised his palm to block Su Yan's punch. This was the Lightning Palm, a secret technique of the Divine Firmament sect. His palm was like lightning in the sky. Once it was fully unleashed, the lightning would be as magnificent as a mountain range. It was enough to create a terrifying, destructive power. However, Su Yan's punch was condensed with his own combat strength. It didn't seem very powerful. In reality, the moment he attacked, the destructive power shocked the world. The lightning palm was instantly destroyed by his method, and that terrifying power also attacked the physical body of the Lightning King. Ah! King Flash screamed uncontrollably. His arm had exploded, and half of his body was about to collapse. Blood and shattered bones spurted out from the pores all over his body. This kind of heavy injury caused the Lightning King to shriek miserably. He was terrified and in despair. This was the second time he had been heavily injured by Su Yan's punch. However, this punch had seriously injured him, and his foundation had been greatly shaken. He was really in despair. How could this person be so powerful? He had stepped into the godly spirit realm at about the same time as him. King Flash run. The Divine Firmament sect's experts were enraged, and their eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. Some god kings could not control themselves and wanted to charge in. They were facing lunatic Su, who was at his peak. The Lightning King could not stop Su Yan. King Flash kept wanting to leave the mountain, but he couldn't escape at all. Su Yan stood up like a wild overlord in the sky. He was also like a terrifying emperor star descending to the world. You want to leave after coming here? Su Yan was furious. His whole body exuded the domineering aura of a god fiend as he soared through the sky. That peerless aura made King Flash feel like his insides were about to explode. He roared in desperation. His lightning body was fully ignited, and his life origin power was reversed. Thousands of lightning bolts burst out. This was the power of his physique. After all, King Flash was the Divine Firmament sect's star domain supreme. When he recovered to his peak state, he was also quite powerful. Indescribable lightning bolts gathered together to form a black lightning bolt that could shatter the sea of stars. It was really like a black dragon descending from the sky. This was the Divine Firmament Star domain's most powerful mystic technique, lightning of heaven. Boom! A huge black crack appeared in the void. The black lightning bolt descended from the sky. It was even bigger than a mountain ridge, and it exuded a Tao law that could destroy all life. It was filled with a kind of shocking divine power that could kill kings of the same generation. This lightning bolt also seemed to have a life of its own. It automatically absorbed the energy between heaven and earth and rapidly grew. The moment it struck, it was like a vast lightning bolt from the sky. Lightning of heaven. The scene in the space-time mirror was blurry. Their hearts trembled. This was the divine firmament sect's most powerful mystical ability. They had never expected King Flash to use such a mystic technique on the second move. What kind of powerful enemy did he encounter? The divine firmament sect's upper echelons were all agitated. They really hoped that the sect's most powerful mystic technique could stop Su Yin in his tracks. But the next moment, they really despaired. Although that black lightning bolt was 10,000 times stronger, when Su Yin charged into it, he was still as valiant and invincible as ever. His roar made the lightning in the sky tremble. Boom! He punched out. It looked light and slow, but in fact, it shattered the universe and shook the heavens. He released the Big Dipper fist again. In the eyes of the world, Su Yin seemed to only know this mystic technique. But when he punched out with the Big Dipper fist, it was as peerless as ever. This punch forcefully bent the black lightning. "Break!" Su Yin shouted coldly. His long black hair draped over his shoulders. He was majestic and domineering as he punched out fiercely, shattering the lightning that filled the sky. This punch was heavy and powerful. In an instant, the heavenly lightning was shattered. It was as if Su Yin had shattered it with a single punch. Even the heavenly lightning had been split into two. Then, the vast energy fluctuations that emerged from the Big Dipper fist rumbled over. This was an unstoppable and invincible divine might that pressed down on King Flash. How powerful is Lunatic Su? He shattered the heavenly lightning with a single punch. This Big Dipper fist is too powerful. It's not that the heavenly lightning is weaker than the Big Dipper fist. It's just that King Flash and Su Yan's combat strength are too different. Didn't you see that King Flash has been suppressed from the beginning until now? It's as if they are not on the same level. Su Yan is really a peerless overlord. It's really terrifying. Some people were discussing this, which made the higher-ups of the Divine Firmament sect go crazy. Was their race's King Flash so weak that he was destined to be a tragedy? He was the strongest person among the peak races and was destined to be dazzling. Once he was defeated, he would also be extremely miserable. King Flash coughed out large mouthfuls of blood. His body trembled, and his heart was filled with fear. He could not stop Su Yin. No matter how strong he was, he could not stop Su Yin. Moreover, Su Yin was domineering as he pounced on him again. "You forced me to do this." King Flash let out a hysterical roar. He had lost a lot of face today. Even if he survived, it would be a tragedy and he would be ridiculed by others. King Flash did not want to continue like this. He activated the technique he was proud of. A mark appeared between his eyebrows. This was the star field mark of the Divine Firmament star field. It was equivalent to the great Tao essence of the strongest ancient star. It gathered between his eyebrows. Buzz. When it shone, the moment it woke up from its slumber, the world seemed to be covered by billions of lightning bolts. The lightning between his eyebrows was dazzling and emitted terrifying energy waves. A condensed Divine Firmament star field appeared in front of him. It was grand and peerless, with billions of lightning bolts and all kinds of unpredictable energy waves. Without a doubt, King Flash was risking his life. He used the technique he was proud of. The starfield mark was about to leave between his eyebrows and launch a destructive attack on Su Yin. "Kill!" King Flash roared angrily. The condensed lightning mark was activated. It contained unparalleled energy waves that could crush everything. This was also called the lightning mark. It came in a flash and was about to crush a divine king. Facing such terrifying destructive power, even someone as strong as Su Yin felt threatened. After all, this was the great Tao mark of the strongest ancient star. If it was activated, it could kill a king of the same generation and form a destructive attack. However, when the mark shone on Su Yan's body and was about to suppress him, the blurry mark between Su Yan's eyebrows that had been silent all this time was awakened. It was very special and mysterious. Under the illumination of the lightning mark, this mark shone and emitted a strange energy wave that could devour the universe's Tao and nourish the universe mark. This mark seemed to have a life of its own. It looked down on the world's great Tao and emitted a devouring power. It began to devour the lightning mark. It was really being stripped of its power and devoured by the mark between Su Yan's eyebrows. Boom! At this moment, the sky collapsed. The lightning mark was violent and erupted on its own to escape this place. Su Yan rushed up and released his strongest power. He used the blurry myriad Tao domain to forcefully suppress the lightning mark. He felt that this was a great opportunity. Once he swallowed the lightning mark, it was equivalent to obtaining the divine firmament star field's Tao fruit. During this process, Su Yan was struck by lightning that filled the sky. His myriad Tao domain was penetrated many times, but the more he fought, the braver he became. His roar shook the mountains and rivers as he released the most invincible power. He kept suppressing the lightning mark with a peerless stance. In the end, the lightning mark became weaker and weaker. All the energy essence was devoured by the mark between Su Yan's eyebrows. Ha ha! Su Yan laughed loudly. His laughter shook the heavens and the earth. It was full of energy and shook King Flash to the ground. King Flash did not know what had happened. He only knew that the lightning mark had been obliterated. At this moment, King Flash was truly in despair. He had lost the means he was so proud of. He had lost his identity as a supreme star field. What? He looked up to the sky and roared as if he had gone mad. He could not accept this. Chapter 900. Su Yan's glabella glowed with the light of the great Tao. A blurry and mysterious mark appeared, flowing with light. The special effect of this mark was enough to shock the world. It had devoured King Flash's mark. This was the origin Tao mark nurtured by a peak ancient planet. It could be said to be the strongest Tao mark of thunder and lightning. It turned into a rain of great Tao light and gathered in Su Yan's glabella. The mark between Su Yan's glabella used it as nourishment. It absorbed the thunder and lightning mark to grow. It became clearer again, and a bolt of thunder and lightning appeared in the mark. It looked mysterious and unfathomable. What? King Flash's shrill cry still echoed. He knelt on the ground and looked up to the sky. He could not accept all this at all. It was hard for him to accept such a huge difference in his heart. Previously, he had fallen to the ground on the chaotic divine mountain and lost all his face. He had thought that he could avenge himself by coming here again. But from the start of the battle until now, it had only been 3 moves. In less than 10 breaths of time, the Lightning King had suffered a crushing defeat. Even the lightning mark that he was so proud of had been completely obliterated. This was something that the Lightning King was unable to accept. He let out a hysterical cry. He was in extreme pain. He held his head and screamed. His heart had already broken down. Be asterisk starred, be asterisk starred. This scene infuriated the upper echelons of the divine firmament sect. Their eyes were bloodshot. The Lightning King had been defeated. He had suffered a crushing defeat. How could they accept such a blow? King Flash was the hope of their race. The first time, Su Yan had attacked King Flash aggressively. He had crushed the status that King Flash was so proud of with one punch. However, this time, Su Yan was domineering. He had crushed King Flash's spirit and fighting spirit. The entire divine firmament sect could not accept all this. All the cultivators present gasped. This was King Flash of a peak-level clan. He was the strongest member of the peak-level clan in the divine firmament star area. However, Su Yan had crushed his will to fight. This kind of domineering power really scared the big shots. Su Yan's freakish strength made them feel a deep sense of despair. At the same time, this was also a bloody reality. Or the proud young geniuses of the various races to Zhu Tian and the others. He was just an insignificant person. The universe was cruel, and the strong preyed on the weak. In every epoch, these people were destined to stand at the peak of all life, looking down on the world and the millions of geniuses. They were supreme existences. And now, Su Yan really stood at this step. As a rising star of the burial realm, he had killed his way to a peerless glory. Now, he had beaten King Flash, pushing Su Yan's prestige to its peak. Su Yan's demeanor was unrivaled. He cast a sidelong glance at the Lightning King. There was no sympathy or pity in his eyes. The Lightning King had only himself to blame for all of this. Back then, Su Yan had saved his life. Instead of repaying his kindness, the Lightning King had found trouble with him. This might be karma. People felt that King Flash was very pitiful. This was because the Han family had not helped King Flash since the start of the battle. Although the battle had ended quickly, the Han family had not done anything. Han Wenxian and the others had never imagined that King Flash would be defeated so quickly. They had been preparing. The moment Su Yan woke up from his deathly stillness, they knew that if they wanted to deal with Su Yan, they would have to pay a great price. The Han family was the founding power of the Strange Gate, and they had already arranged countless great killing arrays in this region. Don't worry, King Flash. Leave Su Yan to us. You've already left Oli. Han Wenxian's words were cold. He looked at Su Yan with disdain and said, Su Yan, as a rising star of the Strange Gate, you disrespected my Han family. You disrespected our founding bloodline. Today, we have come to take away everything you have. The group of young experts from the Han family was full of divine power. Each of them was an extraordinary expert of the same generation, and they were proficient in the secret arts of the Strange Gate. When they fully recovered, it was as if they had turned into more than a dozen array eyes, filled with the power of the universe. They used their cold eyes to stare at Su Yan, treating him as something that was already in their bag. Han family. Su Yan stared at them and laughed angrily. You're from the founding bloodline? You're not worthy. Young man, don't be so arrogant. Han Zhongming stood with his hands behind his back. He had a head full of silver hair. He was not angry, but he was a dignified divine king and a 7th-level supreme power master. Although his power was suppressed to the realm of the divine realm, Han Zhongming was an expert. How could he be afraid of Su Yan? I was wondering who it was. It turns out that it's the divine king. Su Yan sneered and said, I've even killed the divine king, let alone a divine king like you, who has suppressed your power to the realm of the divine realm. Old man, are you here to die? I haven't heard such arrogant words for many years. Han Zhongming's tone was cold and cruel. I, Han Zhongming, have roamed the chaos ruins for thousands of years and killed countless divine realm experts. How dare you be disrespectful to me? Stop talking nonsense. Hurry up and attack. Don't destroy my treasure. As soon as Su Yan finished speaking, Han Wenxian and the others were slightly stunned. Your treasure? Then they noticed that Su Yan was looking at the Han family's supreme treasure, the Great Path painting. For a moment, they were furious. This was too arrogant. Kill this little bastard for me. Han Zhongming was enraged. A war banner flashed in his hand. As it was waved, rays of light covered the sky and directly chopped down at Su Yan. It was as if a terrifying force from beyond the heavens was pulled, forming a scene of the Milky Way falling from the 9 heavens. This was an extremely terrifying heavenly momentum descending to suppress Su Yan. One had to admit that Han Zhongming was extremely strong. The momentum of the heavens that he drew was vast to the extreme. It crushed the heavens and rumbled as if thousands of soldiers and horses were descending from the lower realm. Kill! A group of young experts from the Han family swooped down, releasing their auras completely. They were all proficient in the momentum of the heavens. It was as if a dozen heavenly dragons swooped down, forming a world-destroying storm. It was also like a huge heavenly formation diagram. Su Yan, if you can escape from me, I'll change my surname to yours. Han Wenxian didn't move. He stood in the void with his hands behind his back and looked down at Su Yan as if he was announcing his death sentence. You unfilial son, the first one I'll kill is you. Su Yan's feet landed on the ground. In an instant, he rose up from the ground and pulled the momentum of the earth upwards. You've really mastered the terrain chapter. Han Zhongming was excited, his eyes red. The good fortune that the Han family had been waiting for since ancient times had finally been encountered. However, just as this smile appeared, Han Zhongming's expression changed. Su Yan's aura suddenly surged by a large amount. The immortal iron staff suddenly erupted from its slumber, flashing with thousands of afterimages. It was as if 100,000 wild dragons had broken out of their cages. Heaven's subduing staff formation. It's the previous chapter's technique. Han Zhongming's eyes widened in anger. This was their Han family's lost secret. How could Su Yin have mastered such a shocking technique? He even directly used the heavens subduing staff formation to its strongest domain. The momentum of the heavens that covered the sky rumbled as it was stirred up by the staff. At this moment, Su Yin seemed to have borrowed the momentum of the heavens that they had drawn down for his own use. Kill! Su Yin let out a long roar. This staff was disdainful. At the moment of bombardment, it was as if a giant pillar that supported the heavens towered over the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Layer after layer, the boundless power of the heavens subduing staff smashed down towards the group of people descending from the sky. Boom! Everything exploded. The supreme technique that was known as the Divine King's invincible technique under the secret realm was unleashed by Su Yin to its peak. The killing formation that covered the sky was riddled with holes. It was smashed to pieces by Su Yan's staff. What was this? It was really like a young overlord that had opened the heavens. His aura swallowed the river of stars, looking down on everything. In an instant, a large number of people died. Their bodies exploded. They were terrified and in despair. It was as if they saw the young overlord of their clan going crazy and wanted to slaughter them all. The Han family is really out of luck. The martial clan members sneered. Before, when Su Yin was in his peak condition, they didn't dare to move against Su Yin. But now, Su Yin was in perfect condition. His combat strength even surpassed his past self. He could completely sweep away those of his generation. Of course, the martial clan members never imagined that Su Yin would use such a tyrannical stance to break through the killing formation and blast away all obstacles. The energy storm that filled the sky collapsed. This staff was shocking. It was Su Yan's strongest attack, and it possessed great destructive power. If he didn't have the heaven-subduing staff array, it would have been extremely difficult for Su Yin to break through this formation. But with this great killing technique in hand, he could completely rampage through this place. His aura was too astonishing. The momentum of the heavens was unable to lock down Su Yin. He rushed forwards like an eagle soaring through the skies, like a Kuan Peng emerging from the sea, like an immortal phoenix spreading its wings, like a true dragon crossing the heavens. Tyrannical splitter's origin energy bloomed. Su Yin stretched out his limbs, and his arms fiercely spread out, tearing apart the grand formation of heaven's seal along the way. The moment he charged into the crowd, his palms formed into fist seals. The young powerhouses of the Han family all wanted to rush towards Su Yin, but they were all sent flying backwards by the blood essence gushing out from Su Yan's pores. They coughed out large mouthfuls of blood, their eyes filled with shock and horror. How could he be so strong? An invincible overlord that split the heavens, his aura swallowing 100,000 miles, smashed out with his fist towards Han Wenxian. He's too strong. An invincible stance, sweeping through the entire battlefield. An extreme overlord really cannot be provoked. The scenes that appeared in the space-time mirror caused all the great figures of the various races to cry out in alarm. Numbers were completely useless. Su Yin was incomparably powerful. As soon as he attacked, he wanted to punch Han Wenxian. What? Han Wenxian was also frightened by Su Yan's actions. He never thought that Su Yin would break through this formation so quickly. Their Han family's carefully prepared killing formation had been directly destroyed by Su Yin. Do you think I can't block him? Han Wenxian's body also began to shine. He revolved over a dozen great supernatural abilities, wanting to block Su Yan's fist. But Su Yan's tyrannical fist aura suppressed the universe. Even though Han Wenxian was a proud genius of the Han family, he still found it extremely difficult to block Su Yan's explosive fist aura. This fist seemed as if it would blast into the starry skies and shatter the stars in outer space. Not good. As they collided, Han Wenxian cried out in alarm. This fist was unstoppable, but Su Yan's movements were too frightening. He arrived in an instant and didn't even have time to summon a treasure. Some of the ancestral hall's elders had gloomy expressions. Su Yan's battle stance was becoming more and more tyrannical. They felt that his combat strength was on a completely different level compared to the last time they fought Zhu Tian. Could this be the lucky chance he obtained at God Burial Mountain? Pung. Everything turned blurry. Su Yan arrived in an instant, revealing a peerless power that suppressed a young expert of the Han family until he trembled. In the end, they were terrified as they saw the dozen or so great supernatural abilities that Han Wenxian had conjured being shattered by Su Yan's attack. It was as if the sky had collapsed. Even Han Wenxian's chest caved in and a bloody hole appeared on his back. Ah, he cried out miserably. Even now, he still couldn't believe what had happened to him. He was beaten to the point of doubting life. He was severely injured by Su Yan's punch. His heart was penetrated and cracks appeared on his body. It was truly miserable. Chapter 901. Wenxian. The Han family grandmaster roared in anger. Han Wenxian was a peerless genius of the Han family. His prestige amongst the younger generation was extremely high, and he was also a sixth-grade grandmaster. But now his heart had been shattered by Su Yan's fist, and his body had been torn apart. This sort of injury was too severe, and the Han family grandmaster found it difficult to endure. At the very least, King Flash could withstand a few punches, but Han Wenxian was barely able to withstand a single one. "You're too weak." Su Yan shook his head in disappointment. In truth, the Han family mainly cultivated the Tao of arrays, and were not too fond of the physical body. After all, their path was different from other races. But this Han Wenxian was truly unlucky. He just happened to encounter Su Yan, who was proficient in the Tao of arrays. Ah! Han Wenxian roared in anger. Su Yan's words were too weak and made him question his life. He was incomparably ashamed and angry, and might as well just die and be done with it. Han Wenxian was so angry that his entire body trembled. His blood essence began to flow in reverse, and his aura began to decline rapidly. His injuries became even more severe, and he could die at any moment. Boom! Just as Su Yan was about to resolve Han Wenxian's pain, the array flag in Han Zhongming's hand began to flutter loudly, and its surface began to expand. It was as if a small, concentrated world was pressing down on Su Yan as it began to suppress him. This was an extremely valuable battle flag that had been refined from all sorts of extraordinary treasures. The flag's surface was like a sea of stars, with the sun, moon, and stars arranged within. It released the power of the heavens and interweaved with the momentum of the heavens. Its offensive power was peerless. Even Han Zhongming was extremely decisive. His hands formed seals in the blink of an eye, and a series of profound seals were shot out, piercing through the flag surface. The flag surface became even more powerful. The moment it began to dance, the void exploded, and the surging power seemed to cause the heavens to collapse. It was filled with a peerless power that could suppress all things, and it closed in on Su Yan. Suppress! Han Zhongming angrily roared. Although his cultivation was suppressed by the divine kings, Han Zhongming's array, Tao, was still extremely profound. This move drew upon the endless power of outer space. The power gathered was enough to suppress a king of the younger generation. It was as if 100,000 stars had lined up and were pressuring Su Yan. "Old thing, you think you can suppress me?" Su Yan's eyes flashed with cold lightning. The immortal iron staff awakened once more. He also erupted with the heaven-subduing staff formation. This was a secret technique that was invincible under the Divine King. It allowed him to move unhindered in the chaos channel and even erupt with extreme strength. Boom! The majestic banner collided with the immortal iron rod. This kind of confrontation was especially shocking. The entire area was uncontrollably riddled with holes. This banner was also rather abnormal, emitting an astonishing power that could destroy everything, suppressing Su Yan. Humph! This banner has been tempered by generations of masters of my clan. Once it is suppressed, you won't be able to escape. Han Zhongming was very confident. Experts under the Divine King realm would never be able to open this formation flag. If it wasn't for the suppression of this secret realm, then Han Zhongming's attack could have completely suppressed the Divine King's power. Then Grandpa can only kindly accept it. A cold sneer appeared. Immediately after, under Han Zhongming's gloomy gaze, Su Yin awakened once more, releasing the most invincible fighting strength in his body. He even shot out the power of primal chaos origin chi, penetrating the immortal iron rod. Boom! The big iron rod soared through the sky, wrapped in a terrifying divine might, violently surging. Boom, boom, boom! Su Yin roared, waving the immortal iron rod with one arm, one strike after another. The moment he struck out a total of 9 strikes, everyone present was scared silly. 9 strikes erupted in an instant, pulling on Su Yan's endless reserves and potential, erupting with a terrifying killing intent that overflowed the heavens. The huge banner was overturned. That boundless wild aura rushed into the starry sky, rippling with a terrifying, fiendish aura. What's wrong? How can his speed be so fast? Isn't this too ridiculous? He is really like a battle god. During this period of time, Su Yin was in seclusion at God Burial Mountain. What exactly did he experience? Many old antiques were scared stiff. Even a king who had experienced hundreds of battles wouldn't have such wild strength. But how did Su Yin do it? He had experienced the cruel training at God Burial Mountain. His fighting strength had risen, his aura terrifying, even more ferocious than gods and devils. Damn it! Han Zhongming had a headache. What kind of monster was this to actually have such a strong source of power? Soon, Han Zhongming clenched his teeth, wanting to escape with Han Wenxian. He hoped that they could leave the mountain while there was still time. If they stayed here, they would lose their lives. Many of the onlookers were stunned. They had wanted to escape and had come here with great fanfare. They had even suppressed the strangeness of the chaos immortal mountain in order to take Su Yan's head. But now, they had turned around and fled. Since you are already here, why are you in such a hurry to leave? It's not too late to leave something behind on the road. In a strange scene, Su Yin seemed to have teleported, directly appearing in front of Han Zhongming. The divine kings of the older generation were all moved. This was shrinking Earth into an inch. Su Yin had actually cultivated shrinking Earth into an inch to such a level. This speed was beyond the reach of heavenly deities. It was even comparable to some divine kings. Han Zhongming trembled. He felt his neck turn cold, as if some cold weapon had slashed across it. Grand Elder, the old Grandmaster of the Han family, was bleeding from the corners of his eyes. The scene in the space-time mirror stunned Zhu Yuanqing, because Han Zhongming's head had been directly removed by Su Yin. This was a divine king, a 7th-level Grandmaster, and a Grand Elder of the Han family. Now, his head had been removed by Su Yin. His headless body fell to the ground, and his life essence began to rapidly drain away. No! Han Zhongming cried out in fear. His entire head was glowing, and he wanted to return to his body. He was a divine king, and he even had a lifespan of 3,000 years. In the future, there was a glimmer of hope for him to see through the realms of heavenly gods. But now his head had been removed by Su Yin, and it was in a battle between heavenly gods. This bloody scene made the faces of some divine kings, who were about to die, turn green. Originally, they were prepared to sneak into the chaos ruins like Han Zhongming, to harvest some good fortune and find some secret medicine to extend their lifespan. But now, what had happened to Han Zhongming made them panic. Who would dare to go? Once they were killed by a heavenly god, it would be a great loss. Bam! Su Yin suddenly raised his foot and kicked Han Zhongming's rapidly aging body into the void, blowing it into pieces. Han Zhongming went crazy. His body had been destroyed, and his life was about to come to an end. How could a divine king bear it? He could even be on the same level as a half-step heavenly god. You little beast! He roared like a madman. He had been destroyed. Even the divine king's fruit of Tao had been destroyed. His heart was full of fear and fury. He was so angry that he was about to explode. You're already so old, but you came to kill me. You even attacked me when I was seriously injured. You deserve to die." Su Yan's eyes shone with a cold light. He directly swung Han Zhongming's head and smashed it at a group of young cultivators of the Han family who were fleeing down the mountain. After all, Han Zhongming's head had been cut off. This made Han Wenxian despair. Coming to God Burial Mountain was a completely wrong decision. Originally, the Han family's grandmaster had told them to wait until Su Yan was seriously injured. At that time, Han Zhongming was very disdainful. He felt that there was no need to be so careful. How could there be an accident when dealing with Su Yan? But now, he understood that this was a demon who had dominated God Burial Mountain. He had completely turned this place into his domain. The Divine King's head moved as he pleased. Puff! Han Zhongming's head smashed into a young cultivator of the Han family. He spat out blood and fell to the ground. The next moment, he saw that it was Han Zhongming's head that had smashed into him. He was so frightened that he trembled. Han Zhongming's head was directly smashed. He was still roaring crazily. He doubted his life after what had happened today. Who dares to check him now? The space-time mirror constantly showed bloody scenes. They all bitterly smiled. Who would dare to go to God Burial Mountain to check Su Yan? The Divine King had been killed. One after another, young cultivators of the Han family had been killed by Su Yan. Even Han Wenxian couldn't escape this misfortune. He wanted to beg for mercy, to beg Su Yan to spare his life. Su Yan saw the desire to live in Han Wenxian's heart. He kept an eye out and did not kill Han Wenxian. Instead, he sealed him and gave him a death order. "I will give you 3 days to write down the heavenly momentum chapter. If you can't do it, I will send you to hell." This demonic sound tormented Han Wenxian, causing him to tremble in fear. Once he wrote down the heavenly momentum chapter, even if Su Yan really let him go, would the Han family spare him? But Han Wenxian didn't want to die. He struggled in his heart. What should he do? Su Yan didn't care whether or not Han Wenxian could write down the heavenly momentum chapter. His eyes stared at King Flash, who was running down the mountain. He sneered and said, "King Flash, what do you think you're running to?" King Flash was still running for his life, using all of his strength to escape. He still held onto a faint hope that Su Yan wouldn't catch up so quickly. But in the next moment, King Flash cried out miserably. This was because Su Yan didn't even need to do anything. At the moment of Han Zhongming's death, the Han family's most precious treasure, the Great Tao Diagram, lost control. It rapidly dimmed, and the pressure of God Burial Mountain appeared. In a single exchange, King Flash felt a deep sense of despair. His mortal body disintegrated once more. Even the unique evil strength of God Burial Mountain began to swallow up King Flash's life essence. No! King Flash was filled with despair and fear. His spirit and fighting spirit collapsed once more. He felt that even if he was at his peak, he wouldn't be able to last more than a few days. But how could Su Yan cultivate here for an entire year? Su Yan walked down the mountain step by step, ignoring King Flash. Madman Su is coming down the mountain, so he can always come down the mountain. How'd he do it? The situation of God Burial Mountain doesn't seem to be a threat to Su Yan. Is he really going to destroy a place of death? The onlookers were horrified. Their eyes were filled with awe. They all knew why he came down the mountain. In short, the Han family had suffered a great loss. A genius had been suppressed, the Divine King had been killed, and even the Han family's most precious treasure had fallen into Su Yan's hands. They all saw Su Yan come down the mountain and solemnly put away the Great Tao Diagram that still had a lot of power. This was a rare treasure forged by an 8th-stage Great Grandmaster, who below the mighty figure level could withstand the power of a Great Tao Diagram. It even contained many special powers. It was extremely important to Su Yan. Such a great killing weapon could completely intimidate all the powerful cultivators. It could also be Su Yan's trump card when he ventured into the Chaos Ruins. After doing all this, Su Yan suddenly roared at the space-time mirror that was spying on him. The scene displayed by the space-time mirror made the faces of the Divine Firmament sect's upper echelons turn pale. Su Yan's Great Tao Heavenly Melody lined up. 50,000 kilograms of chaos treasures. Is he crazy? 50,000 kilograms. He really knows how to ask. Is King Flash worth this price? The Feng family's divine king was shocked. Suyin had asked for an exorbitant price. If he gave him 50,000 kilograms of chaos treasures, he could send King Flash down the mountain. Money and goods. Please remember the domain name of this book. 9 Heavens Divine Emperor Mobile Version Website. Chapter 902. Suyin, give me a quick death. Kill me if you're a man. King Flash was in despair. Even if he survived, he could only live in Su Yan's shadow in the future. After losing twice in a row, King Flash already wanted to die. This was a fate worse than death. He was the most powerful person of a peak race, the strongest of his generation, and the paragon of an ancient star. How could he still walk in the cultivation world in the future if he lost so miserably? Suyin did not care about King Flash at all. If the Divine Firmament sect did not come, King Flash would slowly die and be devoured by the God Burial Mountain. There was no need for Su Yin to do anything at all. When Su Yin left, he took King Flash's space treasure and obtained all the wealth of a peak race's strongest talent. Su Yin. King Flash was so angry that he was going crazy. He wanted to get up, but the God Burial Mountain's pressure made King Flash's body tremble violently. He had no room to struggle at all. Moreover, the evil power in the God Burial Mountain was constantly devouring King Flash's life. He looked very miserable as he looked at Su Yan's back with resentment. He was climbing the mountain, reaching the peak of the God Burial Mountain. King Flash's back suddenly became grand in his heart, crushing his will. He was completely terrified and could not muster up the courage to say anything. A peak talent of a generation had lost his will to fight. He was like a walking corpse. Su Yin, you are so cruel. What kind of deep hatred do you have with my race? How can you treat King Flash like this? The Divine Firmament sect's upper echelons, including the Divine King and half-step mighty figures, were in so much pain that they wished they were dead. Their race's strongest disciple had been defeated one after another. This was an outcome that they could not accept. Now that King Flash was in a perilous situation, only Su Yin could save him. This made the entire Divine Firmament sect despair. Could it be that they really had to lower their heads to Su Yin and beg him to spare King Flash's life? 50,000 kilograms of primal chaos treasures? He really dares to ask for it. Even now, there were still people gasping. Su Yan's price was too shocking. Even though the Divine Firmament sect was a peak group of clans and extremely wealthy, taking out 50,000 pounds of chaos treasures was enough to make them suffer a great loss. Moreover, the other Grand Elders of the Divine Firmament sect could not make the decision without the approval of a mighty figure. Madman Su is too strong. He can completely ignore the pressure of God Burial Mountain. I never thought that the Han family would be defeated so miserably, even though they came with such great fanfare. That's right. Su Yin has obtained the supreme treasure of our race. The Han family has really lost a lot of money. The outside world was completely in an uproar. No one had expected the outcome to be like this. The Han family had lost both their wife and soldiers. They had also lost a lot of face. After all, they had taken advantage of the situation, but the outcome had given them a resounding slap in the face. Su Yin, the Han family will definitely kill you. The eyes of the old Grandmaster of the Han family were red. He kept growling and trembling with anger. It was fine that the Divine King had died, but the Great Tao diagram refined by an 8-stage Grandmaster had fallen into Su Yan's hands. This kind of loss was really unbearable for the Han family. In short, the changes in God Burial Mountain had made the big shots of the various races pale. Even now, there were still people who were thinking about the creation of God Burial Mountain. Had Su Yin obtained it now? Did he even have the hope of reaching the peak of God Burial Mountain? Is Su Yan's strength improvement related to God Burial Mountain? What kind of secrets are hidden in this mountain? It's worth investigating. Yes, but this secret is in Su Yan's hands. I'm afraid it's very difficult to get him to hand over the secret of climbing the mountain. There's always hope in the future. The secret of God Burial Mountain will probably be revealed soon. Many experts of ancient orthodoxies were talking. Some people kept paying attention to Su Yin, who was climbing the mountain. Even someone as strong as him climbed the mountain extremely slowly. This was the second time Su Yin had climbed the mountain, but it took him 3 days to climb back to his original position. This showed how difficult it was to climb a mountain. I'm exhausted. Su Yin took a deep breath. He sat cross-legged on the ground and silently endured the pressure of God Burial Mountain. I really hope they can bring me something good. What Su Yin wanted the most now was the essence soul mystic medicine that could strengthen the soul. He wanted to dig deeper into the treasures of his physical body. Only then would he have the hope of climbing to the peak and see what the creation at the peak of God Burial Mountain was. First, Su Yin took out King Flash's spatial treasure. His eyes were full of anticipation. The number 1 expert of the peak races must be extremely valuable. It would definitely exceed his expectations. Bastard. The Divine Firmament sect could not accept the scene in the space-time mirror. As the number 1 expert of their race, he was naturally extremely rich. Even King Flash had not had time to hand over his gains on the chaotic Divine Mountain. But now, all of this had fallen into Su Yin's hands. How could the Divine Firmament sect not feel despair? Zhu Yuanqing put away the space-time mirror. He was a little worried that the Divine Firmament sect's experts would not be able to withstand the psychological pressure. He might even open up the inheritance of the Divine King of the Han family. In any case, Su Yin had profited greatly. These people were just here to deliver resources. Some people could tell that he had cultivated bitterly on God Burial Mountain for a year and must have exhausted all his resources. But at this juncture, people had come to deliver resources. It can only be described as spectacular. Within the Lightning King's space treasure, there were various kinds of resources and treasures displayed, causing Su Yin to suck in a breath of cold air. It was too valuable. It had already surpassed the Divine Kings. There were 1,000 kilograms of chaotic treasures and 1,800 drops of chaotic treasures. This was already a huge fortune. These resources added together were already 2,000 kilograms of chaotic treasures. The poor Divine King could not take out these resources at all. Among them, King Flash must have obtained some of them from the chaotic Divine Mountain. There were even countless chaotic treasures. King Flash and the Sagely Battle God had joined forces to occupy a chaotic Divine Mountain. It was obvious how rich the resources were. I've profited greatly. Ha ha ha. Su Yin laughed heartily. He was just about to doze off when he received a pillow. He was lacking cultivation resources and did not expect that the Lightning King would send him a large batch at such a crucial moment. In fact, among the experts in the outside world, there was a group of experts. Looks like there's no need for it. It's a wasted trip. A Hokuto patriarch was so happy that he could not close his mouth. He had come to deliver a batch of resources to Su Yin. The current treasure-gathering merchant union was an extremely famous event in the universe. They had invested more than 50,000 kilograms of chaotic treasures. They were even preparing to start construction in the chaotic ruins. The Hokuto Patriarch had brought 2,500 kilograms of chaotic treasures to give to Su Yin for cultivation. Now, Su Yin had no use for it. The Hokuto Patriarch was not prepared to take the risk. After all, there was a certain risk from here to God Burial Mountain. Su Yin found a pill in King Flash's spatial treasure. The golden pill was surrounded by chaotic light. The entire pill was intertwined with divine marks of the Great Tao. It vaguely emitted a shockwave that was as high as the heavens and earth. Divine God Pill. Su Yin was moved. This pill was too valuable. It was a peerless secret medicine that could help gods break through to the heavenly God level. Not only could it increase the success rate, but it could also help one become a heavenly god in advance. This was a secret medicine that could only be found by chance. It was said that it was very difficult to refine. The ingredients were almost extinct. Su Yin did not expect that King Flash would have such a good thing. It seemed like he was preparing to break through to the heavenly god level. Su Yin had even plundered some heaven and earth oddities from the Lightning King's spatial treasure. Most of them were used to temper one's physical body. This caused Su Yin to be pleasantly surprised. These resources were very important to him as they could strengthen the blood essence in Su Yan's body. However, he regretted that there were very few secret medicines that could strengthen the primordial spirit. They were not very helpful to him, but it was better than nothing. However, he still overestimated King Flash's value. There were no particularly valuable treasures. If he told others what he thought, who knew how many people would turn green with envy? How many resources would they want? These extraordinary items were too rare and precious. Even if the Divine Firmament sect had them, they would not let King Flash have them on him. Next, he opened the inheritance of the young experts of the Han family and gained a lot. In particular, Han Wenxian's value was not much lower than King Flash's. However, there were no treasures that could make Su Yan's eyes light up. However, he gained a lot of formation discs and precious chaotic materials from them. I hope this old guy won't disappoint me. Of course, the most important thing was Han Zhongming's inheritance. He was a divine king and a 7th-level grandmaster. His value was close to that of a half-step mighty figure. Su Yan really could not estimate how much wealth such a person had. When he opened it and looked at it, he smacked his lips hard. This old guy was too rich. He had collected many rare, chaotic materials. These things were almost priceless. They must have been obtained by Han Zhongming during his exploration of the chaotic ruins. If he sold them, he would definitely be able to get an amazing amount of wealth. So far, he had more than 2,500 caddies of chaotic precious liquid and more than 10,000 caddies of chaotic precious materials. This number of experts who had come to give him resources made Su Yan overjoyed. These were things he urgently needed at this stage. On Han Zhongming's body, there were many repair scriptures and great path scriptures left behind by the mighty figures. Su Yan could not use these things at present, but they were fatally attractive to the Divine King. Su Yan found a great path jade bottle from among them. This was a spatial treasure that contained rivers and mountains. It was very rare. This jade bottle was sealed inside and out. There were more than a dozen seals. Su Yan directly broke the seals by force. When the Great Path jade bottle was opened, it was filled with a rain of light of the Great Path. The mouth of the bottle spat out the sound of the Great Path. As it breathed, the surroundings roared and the stars in the sky seemed to be on the verge of being swallowed by the Great Path jade bottle. What a great spatial treasure! Su Yan was pleasantly surprised. This treasure had many wondrous uses. Once it was fully used, even the heavenly gods would forcibly take it away. It existed in a unique Great Path space that could swallow all things in the world. However, when the sealed items in the Great Path jade bottle floated out, Su Yan looked up to the sky and laughed. The cultivation resources he wanted the most had finally been found. This was drop after drop of resplendent azure liquid that overflowed into the heavens. Every drop of green precious liquid contained an energy essence that made Su Yan's essence soul tremble. Although there were only 10 drops of green precious liquid, this was a rare essence soul mystic medicine. It was very likely that it was the energy essence that leaked out from the essence soul mystic medicine. It was a pity that Han Zhongming had accidentally explored a dangerous place in the past and dug it out after a narrow escape. Although he did not obtain the essence soul mystic medicine's main body, he still obtained dozens of drops of energy essence. After a long time, he had consumed more than half of it. Now, there were only 10 drops left. Do not underestimate these 10 drops. Their value could not be measured by wealth. They were extremely helpful to the Divine King. Please remember the domain name of this book. 9 Heavens Divine Emperor Mobile Reading Website. Chapter 903. Su Yan sealed the Great Path jade bottle again to prevent the potency from dissipating. He was in a good mood. He had gained a lot this time. He laughed and said, "You ambushed me while I was injured. Now, I have all the cultivation resources. I can cultivate in peace in God Burial Mountain for a while." Su Yan didn't plan on leaving the God Burial Mountain for the time being. Although there were great opportunities hidden in the primal chaos ruins, to the current Su Yan, no opportunity could compare to the fortune of the primal chaos immortal mountain. He was confident that he could dig out the treasures in his body again and make his great path divine power reach a higher level. He really needed to study the way to become a heavenly god. Su Yin swallowed a lot of chaotic treasure liquid to nourish his injuries. He was ready to try to reach the primordial spirit realm. Buzz! Su Yin's body glowed. He was using chaotic treasure liquid to recover. It was indeed a luxurious method. Chaotic treasure liquid was the essence of chaotic chi. It was formed slowly after a long time of precipitation. It had a miraculous effect on cultivation and breakthroughs. Normally, it was used for breakthroughs. However, Su Yin took it out directly to recover. His damaged foundation began to recover slowly. Su Yin's body glowed. The original injuries on his body also began to heal in front of a strong foundation. Buzz! Su Yin's glabella suddenly shone brightly. A unique mark appeared. It was mysterious and unreal. It didn't seem to exist in this time and space. After his mark swallowed the original mark of the divine firmament star field, it quietly transformed. One could see a bright lightning mark in the blurry mark. It exuded the strongest great path, profound meaning. The biggest gain should be here. Su Yin was full of anticipation. He merged with the mark between his eyebrows and touched the lightning mark. Boom! Su Yin felt as though he had come into contact with a majestic world of lightning. In this world, there were billions of thunderous sounds exploding, shaking one's soul. It was as though real lightning had streaked across Su Yin's soul. Su Yin seemed to be enlightened. At the moment he merged with the lightning mark, his understanding of the thunder Upanishad skyrocketed. During this process, Su Yin seemed to see the condensed divine firmament star area in his eyes. Billions of thunderbolts shot out from his eyes, revealing the supreme thunder and lightning power Upanishad. Ha ha ha! Su Yin couldn't stop laughing. What kind of heaven-defying fortune was this? His imprint had devoured King Flash's star domain imprint, and as a result, Su Yin had seized the heaven-defying fortune, which was equivalent to grasping the supreme thunder, Tao general outline. This was a kind of Tao, and also a kind of path that was once invincible. The divine cloud star was the strongest ancient star with the strongest life. It had been accumulating the great path for millions of years. At this moment, Su Yin had obtained the seal of the great path. Moreover, he had seen the seal of the great path. It wasn't hard to imagine how amazing and heaven-defying this opportunity was. Su Yin had become the supreme star area of the divine firmament star area, and he could observe the evolution of the thunder Tao in the divine firmament star area. Su Yin had never thought that the mark in his glabella would be so powerful that he could seize the great Tao. His mark was a unique mark of the universe, created when the great Tao of the immortal planet and the earth collided and merged. It was full of all kinds of mysterious power. Not only had it devoured the original mark of the divine firmament star area, but it could also perfectly display his orthodoxy in the mark. If there comes a day when my great Tao imprint swallows up all the origin imprints in the vast universe, how strong will my imprint be at that time? How much of the supreme great Tao will I get? Zhang! Su Yin was excited and moved. This was an incredible opportunity. He had never thought that attaining the great Tao on the immortal planet and then returning to the earth would create such a heaven-defying mark of the great Tao. He could seize the great Tao of the universe. Of course, did he really think that the result of the Thunder Tao mark was only this? The most powerful opportunity Su Yin had obtained came from the Thunder Tao mark. It showed the process of the combination of divine powers that had been accumulated over a long period of time. Heavenly lightning. Su Yin was excited. He had obtained a heavenly secret skill, which was also the most powerful divine ability that had been passed down for a long time in the divine firmament star area. Although the heavenly lightning that the Lightning King unleashed was not strong enough, if Su Yin were to successfully cultivate this remarkable ability, it would be hard to say just how strong it would be. Boom! Lightning flashed in his eyes, one after another, and they were tens of thousands of feet long. Tens of thousands of golden lightning bolts rippled out from Su Yan's body. To be more precise, They were projected by the chaotic CI. They were filled with a heavy and destructive energy source, bombarding the void until it was riddled with holes. His aura changed vaguely. It was like an eternal lightning that cut through the darkness. Su Yin was observing the evolution process of the heavenly lightning. He had obtained the Thunder Dao mark, so his cultivation was very smooth. The current Divine Firmament sect would never expect that the most powerful Divine Firmament Dao Orthodoxy's secret skill had already been obtained by Su Yin. If this news spread, the entire Divine Firmament sect would go crazy. Their ancestors would probably jump out of their coffins. After all, the Divine Firmament Dao's secret skill had been obtained by Su Yin. If this news spread, it would be a huge joke. Most importantly, Su Yin had also obtained the heavenly lightning. A great opportunity had been seized by Su Yin just like that. He had the Big Dipper Fist and the most powerful divine ability in history, the Initial Fist. Now he had obtained another heaven-defying secret skill, the heavenly lightning. This was a peerless secret skill that focused on killing. If Su Yin used the Big Dipper Fist and the heavenly lightning at the same time, his battle prowess would immediately skyrocket. Su Yin seemed to be sitting cross-legged in the Lightning Dao Kingdom, sitting cross-legged in the condensed Divine Firmament star field. He sat cross-legged at the peak of billions of lightning bolts. His figure was a little imposing, like a peerless giant who controlled the Lightning Dao. This kind of realm was enough for people to develop a peerless belief that they could conquer the universe and dominate the world. King Flash's confidence was undeniably related to the Thunder Dao mark. If one day he was strong enough to reach the point where the Thunder Dao mark's avatar was terrifying enough, he would definitely rule the world and look down on all Ingia. He would be invincible in the world. Every kind of Dao had an invincible means, and they could all reach the peak. Su Yin was immersed in the evolution process of the heavenly lightning. He was unable to extricate himself. It was as if he was above a sea of lightning. His body shone brilliantly and fiercely. Gradually, Su Yin's chest moved up and down, transmitting the earth-shaking sounds of thunder. It was as if there was a sea of lightning hidden in his chest, moving up and down with a vast momentum. His body really emitted the sound of heavenly lightning, which contained a kind of immense heavenly might. During the process, Su Yin had swallowed many body-refining items that King Flash had stored. His whole body was bathed in lightning, absorbing all kinds of strange lightning Dao items to refine his precious body. The chanting of scriptures also appeared in his body. This was an extremely powerful profound that belonged to the Thunder Way. It turned into a scripture and began to chant in his body. During this process, Su Yan's body became even more brilliant and bright. It was as if he was really being refined by lightning. His precious body was flawless. This was the embodiment of being cleansed of impurities. Find a chance to refine my body in the midst of lightning. When I step into the heavenly deity realm in the future, I can also use the heavenly tribulation. Refine my body. Su Yan's expression changed. Every Dao and technique had its own unique and magical aspects. He felt that his body had become more ethereal and light, and he had unknowingly shattered some shackles. All of this was closely related to the Dao of Lightning. The Divine Firmament sect had been passed down for a long time, so it naturally had its own reason for being powerful. Su Yin wanted to cultivate again and study the Lightning Dao chapter. In the process of cultivating the lightning of heaven, he even used all kinds of treasures to refine his body. He would definitely have a great harvest. Meanwhile, a low roar directly woke Su Yin up. His eyes caught sight of the Lightning King, who was already as thin as a bag of bones. His body was still losing life essence, and he had already started to lose his source of life. Once it dissipated, he would face death. The layout of God Burial Mountain was even more ferocious than the Blood Altar. It devoured all living things in the world. King Flash had already endured for 7 days and 7 nights, but he felt that he was about to die. He estimated that at most 10 days and 10 nights, King Flash would die. The Divine Firmament sect is not coming. Su Yin was a little disappointed. He had already obtained the Lightning Tao chapter and the Lightning of Heaven. Even if King Flash could still rise in the future, Su Yin did not care at all. His future cultivation path still required vast amounts of resources and wealth. Su Yin had to quickly grow in the face of adversity and try his best to become powerful in the shortest time possible. But without enough resources, all of this was a fool's dream. Although he had a lot of money now, it was not enough to support Su Yan's cultivation to the Divine King's domain. It would be difficult even for him to cultivate to the peak of the heavenly God realm. Su Yin wanted to become stronger as soon as possible. From the deity realm to the king of God realm, even a prodigy would need 100 years to cultivate. It might even take a long time. Su Yin could not afford to wait. He could not wait for 100 years. He did not even know what the universe would be like in a few decades or what the buried realm race would encounter. He had to rise in the shortest time possible and obtain powerful battle strength to protect the race. What the hell is this place? At that moment, Han Wenpan, who had been sealed in the cosmic furnace by Su Yin, screamed. He was already severely injured, and now he was being pulled out by Su Yin. The strange power of God Burial Mountain. It made Han Wenpan extremely frightened. This was an evil land that could devour a person's life source. No matter how strong a person was, they would not be able to withstand such devouring. He did not have the celestial the Archbattle flag to protect him. I've given you the chance. I want to see the results now. Su Yan's thunderous voice instantly lifted Han Wenpan into the air. Han Wenpan's body trembled. He was about to be shattered into pieces by the thunderous voice from Su Yan's tongue. You! Han Wenxian's expression changed. What kind of technique is Su Yin using? Why do I feel that it is somewhat similar to King Flash? Could it be that this fellow has already forced the Lightning Tao chapter out of King Flash? What are you still standing there for? Do you really think I won't kill you? Su Yin waved his hand, killing intent shooting out from his eyes. He wanted to slap Han Wenpan to death. Han Wenxian endured the humiliation. His hands trembled as he handed over the Heavenly Force chapter, hoping to live. Su Yin narrowed his eyes. He took the white cloth and stared at the Heavenly Force chapter. After looking for a while, Su Yin glanced at Han Wenxian, startling him. He whispered, "You must keep your word. Su Yin, you're also a character. There's no need to make things difficult for me, right? I've already given you the Heavenly Force chapter. You should let me go now. Please remember the domain name of this book. Mobile version of reading website. Chapter 904. Seeing Han Wenxian's cowardly behavior, Su Yin sneered in his heart. Everyone was afraid of death, but Han Wenxian was the one who was scared to death. It seemed that he had thought things through after being sealed in the heaven and earth furnace. After all, he had a bright future ahead of him. There was hope for him to become the Divine King. If he were to die here at God Burial Mountain, Han Wenxian wouldn't be willing. He wanted a chance at life. Brat, it's hard to say if you want to live, but you have to take out some real skills. Who are you trying to fool now? Who are you trying to fool by taking out something so shallow? Su Yan's voice was like thunder. He was very dissatisfied with the heavenly power chapter that Han Wenxian had presented. Su Yin estimated that the Han family had a supreme inheritance that was not inferior to his own. Although he didn't expect to obtain such an inheritance from Han Wenxian, he still needed a profound heavenly power chapter. Su Yin wanted to enter the 7th grade domain, so the heavenly power chapter was essential. How can it be shallow? Han Wenxian's expression changed. He stammered, "This chapter can't be learned without 10 years of hard work. This is a true heavenly power chapter inheritance. In this situation, I don't dare to fool you. You aren't going back on your word, are you? 10 years of hard work. That's for you." Su Yin coldly snorted. Han Wenxian was so humiliated that he wished he could tear apart Su Yin. These words were a heavy blow to him, but he didn't dare to refute. His life was now in Su Yan's hands. As long as he didn't relent, Han Wenxian would die at any moment. "If you don't behave, I'll kill you right now," Su Yin coldly shouted. Although this chapter was useful to Su Yin, it wouldn't be of much help. "I'm already very cooperative." Han Wenxian clenched his fists and said in a low voice, "I have something even more profound, but I haven't grasped it yet. Give me some time and let me think about it." Han Wenxian was still holding onto a life-saving straw in his heart. The longer he delayed, the more advantageous it would be for him. Once news of his situation reached the Han family, he felt that someone would definitely come to save him. However, when Han Wenxian was scheming, Su Yin caught the slight fluctuation of his spiritual sense that was being emitted by Han Wenxian. Su Yan's face immediately turned cold. This Han Wenxian was not cooperating at all. He also knew that once Han Wenxian spat out the important chapter, the Han family would not let Han Wenxian off. You're very dishonest. Even now, you still dare to have crooked thoughts. Su Yin coldly snorted. He bent his finger, and the sound of thunder suddenly appeared. In an instant, the space between Han Wenxian's brows was shattered. What are you doing? If you have something to say, let's talk about it. Han Wenxian was terrified, and his body trembled. Could it be that Su Yin really wanted to kill him? Buzz. Su Yan's eyes widened. He stared intently at Han Wenxian's sea of consciousness, hoping to pry into something. But in the process of observing, Han Wenxian's forehead rippled with terrifying soul fluctuations. The moment they were transmitted, even Su Yin felt a bit dizzy. This is a seal. Su Yan's heart trembled. This was a method laid down by a powerhouse. If he tried to pry into it, the consequences would be dire. Bastard! Han Wenxian roared out in despair. His sea of consciousness was transmitting destruction. Without a doubt, Su Yin had touched the seal in his sea of consciousness. This was a method that the Han family used to protect their inheritance. Once the seal was touched, all of Han Wenxian's memories in his sea of consciousness would be rapidly erased. Su Yin, you're so ruthless. Even if I become a ghost, I won't forgive you. Tell me the truth. My elder sister and Qiu Ming are Dao companions. You should know who Qiu Ming is. Just wait for your death. Qiu Ming will tear you to shreds. Han Wenxian roared out like a madman. He had hoped that his elder sister would allow Qiu Ming to appear. Han Wenxian believed that once Qiu Ming arrived, he would be able to suppress Su Yin. After all, Qiu Ming was a legend of the younger generation. He was the invincible divine king, one of the most terrifying Yingjia in the world. Compared to Qiu Ming, the North Fei and the others were relatively weak. In the chaos ruins, which young powerhouse wouldn't give face to Qiu Ming and the others? You want to use Qiu Ming to pressure me? I think you really don't understand the situation. Su Yin raised his palm and slammed it towards Han Wenxian. This caused Han Wenxian's eyes to widen. His body trembled. He wanted to say something, but his body began to break apart in the air. Han Wenxian cried out miserably, but he couldn't stop Su Yan's determination to kill him. This person was directly smashed into pieces by Su Yan's palm. This Han Wenxian probably couldn't understand, even in death. It was because Qiu Ming had angered Su Yin that he was going to die. Qiu Ming, right? Su Yan's entire body emitted a murderous aura. His long black hair fluttered in the wind. A powerful aura leaked out, setting off Su Yan's peerless tyranny. He coldly shouted, "Sooner or later, I will take revenge for what happened back then." He stood in the sea of blood and mountains of corpses. His eyes were like lightning as he looked around. His entire body emitted a terrifying conviction. His figure was also a little shocking. He was like a world-destroying lightning that was born in the Demon Mountain. He could easily erupt with an aura that could cause the space to collapse. Su Yin had just entered the Heavenly Lightning secret technique, but he already had some standards. Heavenly Lightning, body transforming into heavens. Su Yin had a deeper level of enlightenment towards this secret technique. He walked the path of the universe. Now, he was using the initial scripture to derive the Heavenly Lightning secret technique. He discovered that with the supreme profound of the initial scripture, he could completely erupt the power of the Heavenly Lightning. One had to admit that the initial scripture was too shocking. There were many special secret techniques in this world that needed to be combined with unique heavenly techniques in order to unleash their power to the extreme. Su Yin was using the initial scripture to derive the Heavenly Lightning. Without a doubt, his aura was even stronger. He really had a kind of supreme demeanor, as if he had transformed into the heavenly lightning and controlled billions of thunderbolts. Buzz. Su Yan's pores glowed, spewing out lightning and tribulation light. His body was like an ocean that stored lightning. The moment he trembled slightly, the void would be riddled with holes. The destructive power was quite shocking. Su Yan's pores were swallowing all kinds of lightning materials that King Flash had stored. There were some special lightning herbs, some special divine ores, and even some lightning fruits. These things were extremely rare. After all, with King Flash's status, the resources given to him by the Divine Firmament sect were the best. Now, a large amount of resources were all swallowed by Su Yan into his body. When these herbs dissolved, his body was filled with rolling lightning liquid. It was tempering Su Yan's body and refining the impurities in his body. The process was painful but comfortable. His body was sometimes charred black and sometimes golden yellow. It was like his body was reincarnating again and again. This was a kind of comprehensive tempering. Su Yan used the lightning of heaven mystic technique to temper his body and strengthen his blood essence. His cultivation realm had even reached the peak of the 7th firmament of the godly spirit realm. He was only one step away from the 8th firmament. Let's wait a little longer. Su Yan was not in a hurry to break through. He continued to consolidate his cultivation. His understanding of the lightning of heaven became deeper and deeper. He could not help but sigh. As expected of the Divine Firmament sect that has been passed down for countless years, the world's factions cannot be underestimated. Every Tao has its own tyrannical and unique points. If Su Yan had not obtained the Lightning Tao's general outline and obtained the Great Tao Essence imprint of a star domain that contained 1,000,000 years of Tao Essence, then Su Yan's body would need to continue cultivating bitterly to reach this realm. It was very likely that he would not be able to reach this realm. This proved a fact. Every great Tao had its own uniqueness. Su Yan was only at the beginning of the Lightning Tao's general outline. If he could fully grasp it, he would definitely be an invincible king in the world. However, the 10 great passageways were not peaceful now. Huge waves were erupting one after another. I saw blood essence soaring into the heavens and covering a vast region. What kind of overlord is breaking through? It's too terrifying. I saw it clearly from the 10th passageway. Boundless blood essence covered a vast region. This kind of foundation is too domineering. It's completely the embodiment of conquering the world. One passageway after another was shaken. It affected the nerves of all living beings. Shocking news kept coming in. Big news. The sagely battle god has broken through and stepped into the heavenly god realm. His blood essence has covered a vast region. The indestructible body's divine power has been unearthed. An invincible king of a generation has stepped into the heavenly god realm. He has the foundation to conquer the world. The peak talents have already begun to enter the heavenly god realm. It seems like the struggle for hegemony in the chaos ruins is about to begin. The North Demon and the others will also break through and step into the heavenly god realm to conquer the world. The news spread like wildfire. The sagely battle god was a supreme king whose fame in the chaos ruins was not inferior to the few heavenly supremes. Now that he had stepped into the heavenly god realm and unearthed the power of the indestructible body, his divine power was overwhelming. The sagely battle god is a peerless genius of the Tao Temple. He is worth befriending. In the future, he will definitely have the right to enter the universe secret realm first. There were many powerful people from the major clans who were heading towards the 9th Chaos Divine Mountain. They wanted to pay a visit and send gifts to congratulate the sagely battle god for successfully breaking through. However, the sagely battle god had already left a few days ago. The He clan did not hide it and directly pointed out that the sagely battle god had gone to the god burial mountain. What? The sagely battle god went to the god burial mountain? Is he going to ascend the mountain? I'm not sure. It said that King Flash also went to the god burial mountain. I don't know how the situation is now. I heard that the Han clan invited him to go with them. Some of the powerful people who knew the inside story smiled bitterly. King Flash was not far from death. Currently, The news had just spread to the 10 passageways. Only a few people knew about it. Soon, everyone would know. But now, the sagely battle god had gone to the god burial mountain. His intentions were unclear. Since he had already entered the heavenly god domain, his battle power would definitely skyrocket. His battle power would definitely surpass Su Yin and the others. Now, apart from a ninth Chaos Divine Mountain, the other young kings who were in seclusion were all accumulating their power. In less than half a year, a large number of peak talents would definitely enter the heavenly god domain. Once this day came, the Chaos Divine Mountain's fortune would be completely exhausted. Then, the time for the heroes to fight for supremacy would quietly come. The various universe, secret realms, and broken universes would surface. A bloody era was about to come. A great era filled with bloodshed and opportunities would quietly begin. On the god burial mountain, Su Yin had already cultivated for 9 days and 9 nights. With each passing day, his corporeal body became a little brighter. Until this day, Su Yan's body was bright. It was as if it had really disappeared. It was as if it had become one with the space. It could erupt with extremely pure energy waves at any time. It's about time. Su Yan's eyes suddenly opened. His pair of eyes were sharp like 2 bolts of lightning that cut through the starry sky. His breath was like thunder. This was the true sound of thunder that shook the heavens and the earth. Su Yin felt that his body was full and crystal clear. His divine power was pure and flawless. Moreover, Su Yin had climbed to the limit. He could break through the barrier at any time and break through to the 8th heaven of the divine spirit realm. Once he stepped into this stage, Su Yin would be closer and closer to the peak. However, he was not in a hurry to break through. He wanted to further verify the path of becoming a heavenly god recorded in the Chaos Divine Mountain. Is lunatic Su going to climb the mountain again? Many onlookers at the foot of the mountain widened their eyes. They saw Su Yin stand up and seem to be about to break through. However, at this moment, a terrifying, oppressive feeling assaulted him. It was heavy, and it was as if the heavens were covering down from the ages. Who is it? They turned pale with fright. They looked into the distance and saw a blurry figure appear at the end of the horizon. In an instant, that terrifying body tore through the void and rushed toward the God Burial Mountain. Chapter 905. At the foot of God Burial Mountain, the onlooking cultivators had heavy hearts. They were all looking into the distance. That blurry figure was becoming more and more shocking. It was hard to imagine that this was a young cultivator. He had crossed the horizon and torn the void apart with just his physical strength. How strong must his physical body be to have such destructive power? Before this person appeared here, the surging blood chi in his body had already made them feel suffocated and tremble. They all felt that their bodies were about to collapse. Who is it? His physical body is too terrifying. The blood essence in his body covers the sky. This is a young heavenly god. They all turned pale. This young expert was quite heaven-defying. The blood essence in his body was vast and golden. He was like a young king who could push thousands of torrents. His figure emitted a kind of aura that could suppress the universe. The sagely battle god had the indestructible body. This was a supreme physique. Such a supreme physique dominated his peers. It was known as an indestructible physique. Now that the sagely battle god had stepped into the heavenly god realm, his indestructible body had reached an extremely heaven-defying level. After a slight recovery, the blood essence in the sagely battle god's body soared into the sky and pierced through the vast starry sky. Just this scene alone was enough to shock people. It was as if a divine king had come and looked down on the world. What a sagely battle god! On this day, the energy projected by the space-time mirror radiated near God Burial Mountain. Zhu Yuanxing and the others saw that figure through the space-time mirror. He already had the demeanor of a peerless expert and could easily erupt with destructive power. After all, he was a famous peerless prodigy in the Chaos Ruins. Now that he had stepped into the heavenly god realm, he had become a hot top expert in the universe. I wonder why the sagely battle god is going to God Burial Mountain. Some people's gazes shifted to the Tao Palace's old antiques, guessing whether it was related to the Tao Palace. After all, God Burial Mountain was a matter of great importance. Even the Tao Palace had been alarmed. After all, this concerned a place of no return. And Su Yin had the hope of breaking through that place of no return. This was a major matter that even the mighty figures paid attention to. King Flash is not far from death. I wonder if the Divine Firmament sect will save King Flash? It's hard to say. Madman Su asked for 50,000 kilograms of chaos treasures. Is the Divine Firmament sect really willing to pay such a huge price? Some of the old experts of the various races were discussing in low voices. Some felt that the possibility of the Divine Firmament sect taking action was very high. After all, King Flash was different from Han Wenxian. The Han family had lost Han Wenxian. There was a second Han Wenxian. However, once King Flash died, the Divine Firmament sect would lose their star domain paragon. This would be a disastrous outcome for their race. The Divine Firmament sect wanted to nurture a mighty figure, not the Divine King. When the sect's paragons reached a certain level in the future, they would definitely be able to obtain the Divine Firmament Starfield's help. The possibility of them transforming into mighty figures was very high. King Flash was still gasping for breath, but he had already been tortured beyond recognition. His body had shrunk, and he was as thin as a mummy. His life essence was about to be completely dried up, and his flame of life was about to be extinguished. This was the sign of death. The strongest elite of the peak races was about to die in such a miserable state on God Burial Mountain. This caused a huge uproar. The era of hegemony in the Chaos Ruins had already arrived. However, a leading expert of the peak races had already been killed. This caused them to be extremely shocked. However, Su Yin was now completely unharmed. Furthermore, he was standing very close to the peak of God Burial Mountain. This caused the old experts of the various races to discuss spiritedly. Could it be that Su Yin could really climb to the peak of God Burial Mountain and obtain the great fortuitous opportunity in the land of death? In the Ancestral Hall, the experts of the various races were extremely gloomy. This was completely different from what they had expected. Not only had Su Yin survived, but he was also very close to the land of creation. This caused them to panic. If Su Yin really obtained a heaven-defying fortuitous opportunity, could it be that he could still improve? Su Yin is standing up again. Is he preparing to continue? Many people could no longer sit still. Impossible. A divine king of the Ancestral Hall roared. He was furious in his heart. God Burial Mountain is a land of death. Su Yin can't reach the peak. It's a pity that we don't know the special method to restrain God Burial Mountain. Otherwise, Zhu Tian would have come long ago. Su Yin wouldn't even have a chance to obtain this fortuitous opportunity. Everyone wanted to know how Su Yin was able to restrain God Burial Mountain. Once they figured out this secret, wouldn't the fortuitous opportunity on God Burial Mountain be easily obtained? Su Yin probably didn't expect that when he stood up to stretch his body, the old monsters of the various peak races would be unable to sit still. They stared at him with wide eyes. After all, this was a land of death. It was no small matter. Still not coming. The Divine Firmament sect is preparing to give up on King Flash. Su Yin shook his head in disappointment. The Divine Firmament sect could really sit still and watch King Flash walk towards death. This made him feel extremely helpless. He was still hoping that the Divine Firmament sect would come and rescue him. It's the sagely battle god. Is he here to climb the mountain? A commotion broke out at the foot of God Burial Mountain. No one had expected that the person who had come would actually be him. Even the sagely battle god had broken through to the heavenly god stage. A peak talent of a generation who had stepped into the heavenly god stage. Normally, this kind of person's status and identity were almost on the same level as the Divine King. After all, to them, becoming a Divine King was not that difficult. And once they broke through, there was a high chance that they would become a peak existence in the Divine King's domain. The sagely battle god had already arrived near God Burial Mountain. His aura was so powerful that it could shake the entire star sea. His majestic body also emitted an indestructible golden light, faintly suppressing the vast sky, making it dim. At that moment, the sagely battle god looked extremely majestic. His aura was unsurpassable. He stood between heaven and earth, filled with the peerless aura of an expert, looking down on the world. The surroundings were silent. No one knew what the sagely battle god was doing here. This was God Burial Mountain. Apart from lunatic Sue, who else could stand on God Burial Mountain? Even if he, the sagely battle god, became a divine king, it was almost impossible. Su Yen, the sagely battle god's voice was loud and clear. He spat out golden ripples from his mouth. The rumbling sound was rapidly amplified, reverberating between heaven and earth. It was deafening, containing a great heavenly might and an extremely heavy aura. This sound wave was directly transmitted to God Burial Mountain, especially to King Flash, who was lying halfway up the mountain. Even the despairing King Flash, who was lying in purgatory, woke up. His hand trembled. His hand, which was about to turn into bones, moved slightly. He reached towards the sagely battle god at the foot of the mountain and said in a hoarse voice that only he could hear, "Brother sagely battle god, save me." King Flash was still alive. His life force was indeed tenacious. His eyes emitted the desire to live. After experiencing 9 days and 9 nights of torture, it was enough to leave King Flash with an unforgettable memory. It was really good to be alive. Shang Tian Battle God shouted. His voice was also transmitted to Su Yin, who was standing on top of God Burial Mountain. Originally, Su Yin wanted to move around and adjust his state. He wanted to use the Essence Spirit Treasure liquid he obtained from Han Zhongming to strengthen his soul chi and transform his essence spirit. Su Yin did not expect someone to come. He did not expect such a powerful voice to be transmitted to him. Su Yin cast a sidelong glance at the man who was standing at the foot of the mountain. He frowned and pondered. "Heavenly God," he murmured. From the sagely battle god's aura, he felt the kind of aura that could pierce through the heavens and even suppress the stars. This sagely battle god was like a part of the heavens. He suppressed all living beings and made them tremble. They really wanted to worship him. This was a heavenly god. One day, when Su Yin was strong enough, he could suppress the great Tao of the universe. This was a heavenly god. He was extremely powerful and could easily control the great Tao of the universe to attack his enemies. From man to heaven, this was a shocking evolution. Actually, cultivating to the heavenly god realm was already quite impressive. No matter which faction you were in, you would not be a small figure. One is the Tao. Everything I cultivate comes from the roots. From the chaos to the chaos. Su Yin saw the sagely battle god's aura and was enlightened. Why did he have to borrow the power of the outer Tao? Why couldn't he use the inner Tao that Su Yin cultivated to create the source of chaos to break through to the heavenly god realm? But Su Yin knew that it would be difficult. Otherwise, this cultivation method would have been passed down. This might be a prehistoric cultivation method. For the current time and space, this kind of ancient cultivation method was not suitable for the current universe. Then what would happen if he really cultivated it? Back then, Su Yin had attained his Tao on Big Dipper. He had been attacked by thousands of tribulations. His life had been hanging by a thread. He had almost died. Then, the path he was going to take now was an ancient cultivation method from prehistoric times. If he really cultivated it, would it lead to a series of unnecessary tribulations? What a headache! Su Yin smiled bitterly. Actually, he had mastered the chaotic source chi. Even if he merged with the universe's Tao, he would still become one of the strongest people of his generation. This path of breakthrough was relatively safe, and his cultivation would be smooth sailing. But he recalled Fairy Zixia's words. No matter how strong one was in the current universe, it was impossible to be on par with the ancients, let alone surpass them. If he really wanted to take a path that was on par with the ancients, it would be extremely difficult. There might be some dangerous variables that could threaten his life. Su Yin still did not dare to forget the Big Dipper's boundless tribulations. He was a little confused, but for some reason he suddenly thought of the phrase, "Fight for the Heavenly Emperor." He even thought of the majestic Tao that caused the collapse of time and the diversion of the river of time and space. His blood was boiling. A man should be like this. The scenery on this path would definitely be very beautiful. Let's try it. If I can use my primordial spirit to dig out the treasures in my body and open the hidden treasures, then I can really try this path. Using my body to reach the divine realm. This is an ancient cultivation method. As long as I succeed, I will definitely be able to obtain more power. Su Yin had made up his mind. Right now, he only wanted to go to the peak of God Burial Mountain to take a look. Perhaps he would be able to see what had happened at God Burial Mountain during a certain era in history. Perhaps he might even find some clues related to the Heavenly Emperor. Su Yin, the sagely battle god, put his hands behind his back. His aura was like a mountain, and his aura was like thunder, shaking heaven and earth. The entire world was filled with surging golden ripples. The surging and resplendent blood essence radiance illuminated the gloomy world. The sagely battle god was showing his power. He waved at Su Yin and said calmly, "Come down and talk. Please remember the domain name of this book, Nine Heavens Divine Emperor Mobile Version website.